Monday, April the 7th. And we got a lot to get to today as the national championship game will be played tonight. No Auburn. SEC representative will be the Florida Gators, who took Auburn down over the weekend. 79-73. They will meet Houston, who takes out Duke 70-67. Cougars move on to the national championship game as well. Let's start with that Auburn basketball game. And I go back to something you said going into the tournament, Greg. If Auburn's going to win a national championship, so Jahad Pettiford's got to be great, got to do what he can do. And unfortunately for Auburn, he didn't do that in this matchup. He was not really a factor. 1 for 6 from the floor in this game. Just not an awesome performance. 7 points, 0 for 4 from behind the three-point line. He hit all 5 of his free throws, but he didn't break the defense down enough. And you didn't get a great Janai Broom. He wasn't bad, but it wasn't a dominant Janai Broom. 6 of 14, 15 points, 0 for 2 from behind the three-point line, 7 boards, 3 steals, 2 blocks. But a lot of that actually came in the second half. The other stuff besides the points. There was not many from him in the second half. Your thoughts just on kind of how and why Auburn went down to the Gators?
Well, and how quickly it flipped, too. I mean, it was firm control. Everything felt good. And then, boom, things flipped in a hurry. And you had a couple takeaways. One, Clayton's amazing.
He's unbelievable.
Clayton's unbelievable. He's so good. Just completely took the game over. Did so many amazing things. Now, Florida turned it over quite a bit. You know, there were a handful of turnovers, and it kind of took them a little while to settle in. But once they did, things got going in a hurry in the right direction. If you were to tell me that Florida would win the game with Alex Condon going 0 for 5 from the field and scoring exactly 1 point, I would have said probably unlikely. But if Walter Clayton can elevate to that point, that's pretty incredible. So look, I thought Auburn kind of blew it, if you want me to be honest. I think they had a better team. I think they had the best player. I think they have a good team. I think they did a lot of things that you could possibly want. They got out rebounded. That killed them. They gave up a few too many second chance points. That killed them. But they forced some turnovers. They just couldn't knock down the same amount of shots as they needed to. And then they obviously got into some foul trouble. So it's hard kind of wrap your head around, because I still kind of come out of that game thinking like, man, I think Auburn could have very easily had that one, if not for a couple of mistakes here and there.
The offensive glass was rough. Chinelu especially, it felt like he only had 6 defensive rebounds, 9 total, but it felt like he had 19 defensive rebounds. And just didn't let Auburn get those second chance points. And that was something that definitely hurt the Tigers. Absolutely. And I kind of take what you said about Florida and flip it around from the Auburn perspective. Like, I thought Broom's 15 in the first half was really quiet. Went a while without getting past a couple of field goals and wasn't really dominating. He got some putbacks and got a couple low post moves right before the half. And I think Pettiford had 2 points at the half. You're thinking, all right, if Pettiford and Broom hadn't really gotten going, and Auburn's sitting here with a 6-point lead at the half, 8-point lead at the half, you should be in good shape. And it just went the complete opposite direction. Florida's guards took over. That's the only way you can really describe it in the second half. Walter Clayton Jr., 11 of 18, 34 points, 5 of 8 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. The ability to just get to a perimeter jumper in an actual instant for him is unreal. How he can just come off a screen and then he's literally a foot off the ground ready to pull it on his jumper. I don't know if I've seen a guy that can get to it as quick as he can in quite some time. It's incredible to watch him operate. And some of the switching on defense was a little problematic for Auburn. He had a couple where he was able to take some bigs off the dribble and break the defense down. I thought there were some breakdowns in Auburn's defense, specifically in the paint. Just kind of not an awesome effort. And you hate to see that, because there were opportunities there. Like I said, you had a nice lead at the half. You had a decent lead at different points in time in the first half. And Auburn actually outscored Florida in the paint 34-30. If you'd have told me just that, I would have said they have a chance to win right there. Because Florida seemed to dominate the paint the first time these two teams played, and it wasn't like that. And then also the other thing, if you'd have given me these two, because you said, if you'd have heard that, then you would have no way you'd have thought Florida would have won.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me Auburn had 34-30 in the paint and the fast break points were 4 for Florida and 2 for Auburn, I would have said definitely Auburn won the game. Because that would have told me if Florida only had 4 points in transition, then Auburn's keeping the tempo and the pace where they need it. and I would have thought Auburn won the basketball game. Obviously couldn't get it done. Bruce Pearl doesn't get to a national championship game. We'll see the Florida Gators versus the Houston Cougars tonight. But how do you remember this season? How do you look at this season for Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers?
Well, one more thing. What if I were to tell you that Chad Baker-Mazara would hit 4 threes and score 18 points?
I would say, well, he's probably that other guy that we talked about that they needed. And he was.
I mean?
He
played great.
I'll tell you this. Without Chad Baker-Mazara, I think Auburn gets blown out.
Yeah.
So I thought he did a lot of good things in the game. Obviously, the travel late on the three was, the up and down. That was tough, especially since he hit it. But, yeah, I mean, it was the right call. Then he hit another one there.
Was there anyone, do you think there were any folks around that were blaming the refs after that call?
No, I saw a couple people, just a few people that were discussing the refs after that game, and I'm going to compliment them again, like I did in a couple early round games. They let these two teams play. Now, I didn't see an ounce of Duke and Houston. I had to fly to Dallas for my game yesterday.
It was insane.
Well, thanks for reminding me. But there's no way I could stay up. I had to get up at 3:30 to fly to Dallas. As soon as Auburn was over, got the kids to bed, I went straight to bed. But the refs let these two teams play again, which I appreciate and I love. I mean, the amount of bodies on the floor, guys banging each other around. Like I know some people were complaining about you're going to tweet out one call in the middle of a basketball game and say that that's the deciding factor. I'm sorry, I'm never going to be okay with that. Never. I thought they let them go. And this is what I always want to see in a basketball game. So I had no issues with officiating at all in that game.
I didn't have any problems with the officiating. I just know how people are. And I know how people have a tendency to say, oh, well, the officials, they took it from Auburn. So I didn't see anything that was egregious. I thought it was a great call on Chad Baker-Mazara on the travel.
Right call.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious. But I was just curious if there's anybody that actually felt like that wasn't the case.
Not that I've seen. John, you seen anybody that thought that they missed that call or that was a bad call?
None. I don't think so.
No, I don't think there's really nothing to debate there.
I didn't think so.
I don't think it could be argued. So, so Florida gets Houston tonight. Just kind of, we'll go back to Auburn's season quickly. How 800-239-9569 you want to get in. We want to hear from you as well. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Where does this season go down? Most wins in school history. Only the second trip to the Final Four ever. Is this the Auburn basketball team? Is this the best team in school history? SEC regular season champs. I mean, there are a lot of notches next to it that would make it that.
Are you asking me? Because I'm say
asking
yes.
You. Yes.
I would say without question it's the best team in Auburn history. But you would be a much better person to answer the question to begin with. I know the other one went and had a ridiculously impressive run in beating the team that they beat en route to the Final Four and to come up, a 3-pointer shy from making to the Final Four and losing to the eventual champs. Like, okay, that you can maybe make a case, but I feel like wire to wire, this was the best. They won Maui. I mean, they were good in November. I mean, this was an excellent Auburn basketball team. So I would lean towards this one, but I think you'd be more equipped to answer the question.
I think it's probably got to be this one. I think when you look at most wins in school history, only the second trip ever to the Final Four. I think also too, when you talk about, like you said, it wasn't a team that just got hot late. No,
right.
Not that that's not going back to, the previous Final Four team and saying that's the only reason they were good. They were good at different points in the season also. But
sure.
I think with everything this team accomplished, you probably have to sit back and say, yeah, this is the best basketball team in Auburn history. And there's nothing wrong with that. They accomplished a lot, did some good things. And also, Greg, too, I think if this is 10 years from now and we look back on it, when we look at the leagues of when they went to the Final Four last time and then went this time, I think that'll probably be what pushes it over the edge. And you have to say this is the greatest team in Auburn history because the league was so strong.
I think that makes sense too. Didn't really think about it from that perspective, but if you're looking at it as far as winning the conference in the regular season, being number 1 overall seed, like you said, wire to wire, not getting hot late. I mean, I don't really recall. Auburn's team that made it to the Final Four last time was pretty good. I don't recall exactly what they looked like early in the season. I just don't remember. Maybe they were great, and maybe they had some early preseason tournaments that they won and fared well in. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I do know this. I do know this team at times was as dominant and made it look as easy as one could possibly imagine. It was crazy impressive. So I mean, I think they were a joy to watch, frankly, and a joy to cover. There were some aspects of their performance that were a little frustrating. Like, I'm not the biggest Chad Baker-Mazara fan. The call God stuff got a little irritating to me from the opposite perspective. Some of the things that were written about how the Crimson Crane was actually Auburn's thing. Like, yeah, there are things about this team that frustrated me, but for the most part, they were a really, really, really good basketball team. I enjoyed the storylines surrounding Todd Pettiford getting better and better and better coming off the bench and just becoming a star right before our eyes. And I really wish too that Janai Broom had been healthy all year. Naturally, we play the position that he plays, probably not going to happen, but it would have been nice to see him at 100% wire to wire, and whether or not he really could have challenged for the Naismith Player of the Year.
He looked beat up in that game.
He looked so beat up. I mean, he looked old. I mean, he looked old and beat up.
The one dunk that he had late in the game where it was kind of a little pick and roll situation. He gets the dribble about 8 feet away from the rim and then goes up and tries to dunk it with two hands. I mean, it looks like he got about 3 inches off the ground and couldn't get it to go down. I mean, it was a tough play either way, but that's one that a guy his size is usually throwing down with authority and making a statement. And it's just, after that play, I thought he kind of looked beat up during the course of the game, but then after that play, I was like, man, I said what you said. I said, he looks old.
Yeah, that's
honestly.
It. He really did. I hate saying it that way. I mean, the guy's 23, but he does. I mean, they have 5 guys on the team that were 23 or older. So it's like, if not this one, I think that's probably what's most disappointing if you're looking at it through the lens of an Auburn fan's perspective. If not this one, when? Because it's going to be tougher here in 2 years than it was this year. And the likelihood of you having a collection of players that come together like that are all veterans that have played, that work well together, that understand what their roles are. You got a hotshot freshman that you can ride a little bit from time to time. Are you going to be able to put together a team of that depth and quality again when the roster is potentially impacted by the NIL limitations and the House settlement that might go into effect today? So that's the one thing that I think's got to be a little bit disappointing. It's like that might have been the best chance. Now, can things change? Of course, but that could have very easily been the best chance for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely. So we will keep you updated on any news coming down on that House settlement across the course of the show today. Continue talking Auburn basketball season, moving to a little bit of spring football. UConn picks up a national championship last night. Stallions get back in the win column. We have a boatload of transfer portal news, but after that Auburn loss, Bruce Pearl talking to the Auburn media and just a recap of his thoughts on it.
Played beautiful basketball in the first half. We were prepared. We had a great game plan. They executed really well. We only turned the ball over twice. Second half, Florida's effort and energy. The fact that we're not as deep as what we normally are was a factor. And I thought fatigue was a factor. As a result, we weren't able to maintain control of the game, which I think if we had taken care of the basketball a little bit, not turned it over and given those some easy ones, we could have been in position to win the basketball game.
That's Bruce Pearl after Auburn's loss. Following up on that depth concern and not being as deep as they once were, Bruce also discussing that depth after the game.
We got down to 7 guys, and that's not enough. We just did not have enough help off the bench. And, I think to take a little heat off of Janai, we scored great in the first half with our 2-point baskets. We went through him, and he did great. And I don't know whether we got away from it a little bit, but we only had a handful of 2-point baskets in the second half. So I'll give Florida credit defensively for stepping up. But I just think that, passing and catching and fighting for your real estate, getting your spots, not letting them push you out of position. I think that's why we didn't execute.
So just a tough one for Bruce Pearl a lot of ways around. And the one guy that I don't think anybody had an answer for in this game, has not had an answer for in this tournament, was Walter Clayton Jr., Florida guard. Bruce, just on what he did, what he meant to that Florida basketball team.
Well, he's a great player, and he can go both ways. He can make tough shots. About the only thing that, again, I probably should have done more would be trap the ball out of his hands a little bit. Believe it or not, that was part of our game plan, but we just didn't execute it. you know, like just sort of, I guess sort of you say all things are kind of equal, and you know, Clayton was the difference. I mean, he was just flat out the difference, because we couldn't contain him down that end.
And it feels like, Greg, if there is a team that may be able to, it would be this Houston basketball team tonight. That feels like maybe the one team that could be able to corral him to a certain extent. And obviously that's going to be big if Kelvin Sampson's going to find a way to get a national title.
It was wild. I think just to, and you're right, maybe Houston can do it, but it was wild to watch them at the end of the game on Saturday night force the turnovers they need to force and take advantage of the mistakes that they needed to take advantage of to eliminate that lead that Duke had wire to wire. So I've now 100% agree with you in the sense that if it has to happen, that defense might actually be able to do it. I've never seen anything like what I saw on Saturday night. It was insane.
All right, so Walter Clayton Jr., if you're keeping tabs on him before we get to break and go to Paul Finebaum, most points in a Final Four win since 1981. Seventh player in NCAA tournament history with 30 or more points in the Elite Eight and in the semifinal. He's the first to do that since 79. Second SEC player with 3 30-point games in their NCAA tournament career. Second SEC player with multiple 30-point games in a single NCAA tournament. So Walter Clayton Jr. is doing things that 5, 6, 7, or 1 or 2 other players have done ever in the history of the tournament, not only in the SEC, but also all together. So some of the things he's doing just absolutely phenomenal. Kind of like some of the things that Game Day Men's Health can do for you. Absolutely phenomenal. If you are struggling with sleep, if you feel on edge, Game Day Men's Health wants to be able to help you. If you have a lack of energy, they could potentially help you. This is what you do. It's free. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Schedule that free consultation. See if they can help you with your sleep, with your lack of energy, feeling on edge, want to build a little bit more muscle. Game Day Men's Health can help. You go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up for that free consultation. You'll get a free testosterone test, free PSA test, and they'll give you a baseline of where your health is and then give you the options that can potentially help you. They also have weight loss programs in-house. They can help you with those. New peptides for other ailments. Go see Game Day Men's Health today. It's free. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Sign up for that consultation and see what Game Day Men's Health can do for you. Paul Finebaum with us next to talk Auburn's basketball season right after this on Jocks 94.5. 7:21 Monday, April 7th, Jocks 94.5. Watch live on YouTube. Listen online, jocksfn.com. Apps in your app store, iPhone, Android. Download both of those for free. And you can watch live every single morning on YouTube. Now, he joins us every single Monday. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks. You can hear him 2 to 6 p.m. right here on Jocks 94.5. It's Paul Finebaum.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Paul Finebaum on Mac and Cube in the Morning is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it, the big dog's got it. Now, Paul Finebaum.
Paul, always great to visit with you on a Monday morning. Ask this question to our listeners. I'll just follow it up with you. Should this be remembered as the greatest basketball season in Auburn history?
Yes and no. I mean, it was in many ways, Cole, but unfortunately, I think we're going to get stuck on the last thing we see because that's just the nature of sports. But in terms of what was accomplished, yes. I mean, you had arguably the best, one of the 2 or 3 best players in the school's history. It appears to be the best team. It accomplished as much as any team in Auburn history in terms of championships. Of course, 5 years ago, Auburn made it to the Final Four. You can argue back and forth, but I mean, I think even though I've taken probably a minute and a half to answer a simple yes or no question, I think the answer is yes.
Is the perception of this season's success dependent on Florida winning tonight? Does that help matters? Because I know that could potentially ease the pain, but I don't know if it eliminates the disappointment.
Greg, I don't think it's going to be the determining factor because all that does is it makes you wonder if you had the best team in Auburn history, were they even the best team in the SEC this year? So I don't think that really matters. I think the season stands on its own, and I think in some ways it's more significant than 20. I think in many ways it's more significant than 2019 because getting back to the Final Four, a lot of schools have been to one Final Four. The number of schools that have been to 2, especially in a short period of time, starts to diminish. And I think that is really the most remarkable accomplishment of what Bruce Pearl has done. This did not seem surprising. It seemed expected. And if anything, it feels a little bit hollow on this final Monday night of the basketball season that Auburn isn't playing for the championship. And we all know that from football and other sports. But I think that's a sign of how far this program has come.
Paul Finebaum with us on the Higginbotham Hotline, thanks to Craneworks, each and every Monday, talking Auburn basketball right now. This is a little bit different than football, even though we know there are moving parts. It feels like in basketball, Paul, it's almost impossible to immediately begin to turn the switch and turn the page to next season. I feel like we have no idea what a lot of these teams are going to look like, be like. What do you begin to project as next season even appearing to be like for the Southeastern Conference?
Well, I think there'll be some similarities. I mean, Alabama picked up a big player over the weekend, as you guys know. I mean, I have no doubt. I think to me, we're looking. I don't. When I say, am I going to predict 14 schools in the NCAA tournament and 6 in the final weekend? No, but the next to the last weekend. But I think there's a lot of things to be positive about. And I know the question's coming here. But I can tell you right off the bat, one school who made the playoffs this year has already upgraded, and I'll just let that one sit there for a second.
Paul, I'm trying to figure out which one it was. My mind is
well,
circling.
The easy answer is Texas A&M. I think,
gotcha. Very good.
I think Texas A&M today sits in a much better position with Bucky McMillan to get to a Final Four than it did under Buzz Williams. And I know it's easy to pile on Buzz Williams after he left. He was a good coach. He wasn't a great coach. He could take you to the tournament. He might win you a game. He wasn't going to get you too much farther than that. I think Bucky McMillan has a chance to completely be an absolute game changer in the SEC.
I'd be interested for you to state that on your show today, because what I have seen from Texas A&M fans, when I shared on social that I thought it was a great hire, I didn't have any that agreed with me. It was all like, hey, this ain't the SoCon, bro. better learn how to recruit. And I was just like, have y'all seen your own NIL tank? I feel like recruiting is going to kind of take care of itself there. But I'm with you. I think it's an awesome hire. But A&M fans don't seem to be in that camp.
Yeah, I had one ask me this question the other day. I think it was Friday before the news had even broken, and I gave the same answer I just did. You're right. I got that. I got the answer from the caller was, well, yeah. And then he started piling on to Buzz Williams, which you expect. But I listen, and you guys have a much better seat than I do. But anybody who has been up close with Bucky McMillan the last however many years at Mountain Brook, and obviously the last couple of years at Sanford, understands what we're saying, and that's okay. I don't need to convince A&M fans because they were more hung up on their athletic director the other day. Was he running coaches off? And instead, he went out and to me made as one of the best coaching hires I've seen in many, many years.
Yeah, I'm really happy for them. I told my A&M friends that like he's the man. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, it is different and it will change. But Paul, a big thing going down today is the House settlement. In the event in which it passes, it changes the game significantly. That means that NIL has to actually be NIL, and that would be beneficial, I think, in the eyes of many. So just overarching perspective on what could go down today with the House settlement, if in fact it does get pushed through.
Yeah, I think whether this goes down today, tonight, tomorrow, I mean, it is going down and it is going to change things. I'm not sure, Greg, it is going to be quite, as revolutionary or as evolutionary as we think, because it's already we've already baked all the changes into the cake. I think the real question now is, what's on the other side? I think a lot of people naively look at this and go, well, that's $20 million and at least we got to contain. Well, that's not how it's going to work. Every college out there that knows how to operate is going to find loopholes and ways to continue to recruit, however, in whatever means possible. I think what we're still going to see are more lawsuits. And I have a bad feeling we're going to look back on this day and ask the question, why didn't they just roll the dice and let this thing drag out for a long time as opposed to settling? Because quite frankly, there'll be more lawsuits around the corner. There'll be Title IX lawsuits, and college athletics is still in the same mess, I think, that it was when we ended last week. The only thing I do know is, and we talked to Commissioner Sankey on Friday, is that when he gets through tonight in San Antonio, he's going to Washington tomorrow. One more shot at Congress, and he showed some confidence when he talked to us the other day. The problem is, and you just have to flip up and down the dial. There's so many pressing issues right now in Washington D.C. that I do not believe they're going to get what they want right now.
It's going to be a long road ahead, Paul, I feel. I'm not exactly sure what your thoughts on there. A lot of people that think the doors just closed on this today and, we kind of finish that book and move on to the next one. I don't think that it's anything close to that. No,
because I think, there's sharks in every sea. And if you're at whatever school you want to be at, you're still going to find a way to get around, the allocation that's being approved sometime this week. And I think the real key is enforcement. I talked to Mike Elko the other day about this, and he said, yeah, we want some teeth and we want to find a way to enforce it. But guys, you talk to coaches all the time. How are you going to do it? Because now that it's moved away from the NCAA, you can say, well, that's good. But who is really going to put teeth into it, especially with a lawsuit waiting around every corner?
The fear of litigation is a real thing, Paul, but there is kind of bringing it back to basketball. Can
I interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
I had not seen this and I wanted to get your and Paul's response on this. There's a new suit that's challenging eligibility. Ante Brovich, who played at Charleston, is in the portal and arguing that his Division II season should not count against his eligibility.
Yeah, Cole, if I could address that quickly.
Don't go D2.
Greg Sankey also addressed that the other day, and he didn't say it specifically, but I think he was speaking of indirectly Diego Pavia. And this is a nightmare scenario right now because the legal precedent is favoring guys like this to stay in school and completely wipe that out. And again, you can argue whether that's good or bad depending on where the player plays, but the administrators do not like it.
Yeah, and I've been told for years that eligibility will be challenged at some point.
We're creeping down that path.
Yeah,
we're almost there.
It'll happen. I think I wouldn't be that surprised if we have 30. I mean, we had look at the basketball players that are on the court this last 3 weeks. I mean, there's several teams that are up there in age. Look at the football teams. There've been 25-year-olds starting at quarterback. So we're already there in some ways.
Well, to be fair, we had that when I played with Chris Winkie.
Yeah, but that's true. After a little bit of a sabbatical for sure. But Paul, fast forwarding 2 years now, I've been told that 2026-7 is going to be the year that all hell breaks loose, in large part due to the fact that the Big East can pay $6 million. The SEC, I'm just talking about basketball here, can only play 2 or 3, and doesn't sound like the SEC is going to be able to be as competitive from an NIL standpoint as some of the teams that are basketball centric. Is that something to be concerned about as far as retaining coaches and or being able to attract top players?
100%. That is a major concern. And that's why you were seeing some people in the ACC float that merger possibility, even though I don't understand how you could possibly do it with a football league, to have basketball in one league. But ultimately, I don't know how you figure it out other than going on the dark side. And Greg, if you have to go on the dark side to make it work, I have a feeling we'll find a way to do it. There's just no way a league like the SEC or the Big Ten or somebody else is going to let a primarily basketball-only league get ahead of them.
Absolutely. Paul, great stuff. Always appreciate you taking the time to visit. We'll do it again next week.
Can't wait. Thanks, guys.
Paul Finebaum joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline with us there every week. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks. Craneworks sponsors Paul's visits to our show each and every Monday. A lot to sort of unpack there and discuss, not just with college basketball, but with collegiate athletics, and that eligibility portion of it is a big part. We'll follow up with that just a little bit more on the other side next. Mac and Cube in the morning. So you take that Diego Pavia situation that Paul Finebaum was discussing. Now you look at Ante Brzovic from Charleston saying that his D2 season should not count. What should it then?
Can't count it. Didn't have enough folks watching.
Is it vacated?
But like what?
Most people don't want things vacated. Now we're asking for things to be vacated.
It's ridiculous. Like you played the game. You chose. You could have walked on. You could have walked on at a big school, but you didn't.
I'm not a lawyer. I'd love for one to call in that maybe can look at this from the legal perspective a little bit more. Like what is the legal, I guess, response to this of why it shouldn't count? Like legally, you weren't playing at that level. So therefore, if this continues to go, when does lifetime minor league baseball players sue Major League Baseball and say, you prevented me from getting Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s 14 for 500?
Yeah.
That's y'all's fault, minor league baseball.
It's on you.
And like you and Paul kind of went back and forth on, and this is unfortunate. And I think I've stated on this show before, I have a good friend of mine that has joked for years now. Hey, somebody's going to come back and say, this whole, $55,000 a year to be a garbage man, or, $58,000 a year to be a bank teller, or, $60,000 a year to manage a grocery store. Like, I don't like that. I want my $90,000 a year to play college football again. Where's my 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th year?
Yeah.
And they're going to sue for it. Because getting a regular job is not as cool as being a college football player, number one. Number two, they're probably not going to make as much money out of college. So they're going to want to go back. And they're going to say, no, you legally can't prevent me from making money.
Yeah.
And with where we're headed with this and with Pavia, they're going to get it. So now we're just going to have guys can play college sports as long as they want.
Indefinite. Go as long as you want. Great. Just what we need.
And we were talking about a guy in our game yesterday, for Houston that has, 2 bachelor's degrees from Oregon. Imagine where we're going to get in college sports now. Here's Vince McElroy, 7 undergraduates and 2 graduate degrees. He's
pro.
Just trying to find something else to major in. Yeah, he's running out.
He's going pro in
everything
sports.
All of it.
It's ridiculous.
We're literally going to get to guys that they're going to have to transfer, Greg, because there's nothing else to major in. They've taken all the classes.
Yeah.
There are no more classes to take.
Correct.
Man, why'd you transfer to Alabama? Well, I really didn't want to leave, guys, but there was no more school. Like I literally took every class in the curriculum.
Everything available to me, I took it.
I would hope so. In that amount of time that you were there. 36-year-old Joe Capoto in now for Kansas.
How come it's always Joe Capoto?
I don't know who else to call it.
Johnny Doe.
John McDonough. Coming in for Iowa State. 34 he turned this year.
Eli Eligibility.
Of all the NIL player empowerment eligibility warriors out there, I want to know the one that thinks this is cool and this is good for college sports and this is fun, where guys are just going to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And I played with a wide receiver that was 24 years old, Ronnie Daniels. He played minor league baseball. He's a really good player. I don't think he was good just because he was 25, but I'm not going to say it hurt him either.
No.
It's happened before, but people are going to take those micro, I guess, comparisons and then look at it and say, well, they did it. How come this guy can't do it or that guy? Well, it's a little bit of a different deal. They weren't playing in college at a lower level and now saying it doesn't count.
Correct. You chose to go D2. You didn't have to. No one forced your hand. You better play D2 or else. Wasn't the case. You chose to go D2. You could have walked on, could have gone elsewhere, could have gone to JUCO. That's what Diego Pavia did. They determined that his eligibility was not, an issue. So yeah, I mean, I think you make your own bed. What are we teaching these kids? You can just sue your way out of anything. Oh, I did this. Sue.
Lawsuit.
Everybody's getting sued.
That's what I say. When everybody comes up with why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? Lawsuit. It's the first thing that comes to my brain. Lawsuit. They're going to sue you again, and they're probably going to win, or they're going to scare you to the point that you're going to settle. and it's disappointing. I'm glad that I did not see, like Paul said, Greg Sankey's commentary on this, but it sounds like that I'd be happy with the stance that he's beginning to take on it, because if it's going to be college sports, and you can say it's a business, and it is, I'm not saying it's not, but if it's going to be college sports to any extent, it should be tied to college, which is school, which is academics and an academic calendar. And I'm not saying every kid has to have a 3.8. Hell, I wouldn't have played. But if we're just going to throw that, like, there are certain people that'll tell you, don't even make them go to school anymore. Just let them be pros and let them represent the school. What? Like, there are folks that want that, Greg. And I don't, it amazes me when I hear people say it.
Yeah.
That are fans of college sports, that went to the school that they root for, that actually think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. It'd be good for the personal development of the player too. Like, they're really going to be able to use that.
Well, the people that we're talking about, Greg, they never, when you bring up those things, like when Nick Saban says, what do you want me to do, kick it off the team and just let him go back home where things are rough and he's probably going to get in trouble immediately? Or do you want him to go through our disciplinary actions here? Those people will always tell you it's not college football's job to raise the kids.
Yeah. Well,
it's not your responsibility.
It might not be, but I think all of us that are involved in college football and have seen those teammates and have seen the homes that they grew up in know that it's definitely in the best interest of the player for them to stick around the program and to have that structure. Look, I think this is getting to the point where it's absolutely ridiculous. I think, because here's your pushback on this, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if this can be used in a court of law. Hey, guess what? The 25-year-old still wants to play. 26-year-old wants to play. Cool. You're denying the opportunity of the 18-year-old.
I don't know who
I mean, what do we have? An ageism lawsuit?
Whose rights are going to win there? I don't know. I mean,
like, at what point? Here's the thing. Here's what I think is mind-blowing to me. We just saw Julio Jones retire this past weekend, right? Like, what a career, right? One of the best ever, or at least in my opinion, like one of my favorite teammates, one of the best players in the history of the Falcons organization. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I hope a lot of people agree with that. But he's now, what, 35 years old? One of the best ever, shuts down at 35 years old. Now, he's been fortunate over the last 13, 14 years, 15 years to have made hundreds of millions of dollars. But the guy that is sitting there playing college football well into his early 30s probably hasn't made several $1 million. Probably hadn't. In most cases, probably had not happened. So professional development, like, you cut your teeth in your 20s, and then you go in your 30s, you start to have real earning potential. In your 40s, your best earning years of your life. And then your 50s, you're cooking with gas, right? You found a calling. Maybe you've transitioned. Maybe you altered your career. And then in your 60s, you start to wind it down. Right? Is that not the natural progression of the job of the job world, job market?
I'm just going to tell you again, it doesn't matter. The people who you're talking to are not going to listen to that.
The people that we're talking to don't know about
natural progression.
Anything.
Shouldn't matter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Fine, earn as much as you want. Then perfect. When they're 31, they can't run anymore. Put them out there in the working world. Tell me what skills they have. Are you doing them a favor, or are you doing them a disservice?
Well, I know who never does you a disservice, and that's Janai Flooring.
The Janai Flooring's been great. Fu and his company, they're built to last. They make sure they go above and beyond to make sure your home is taken care of by the best possible contractors in their field. Go and check them out. Birmingham, Trussville, all throughout. They have 40,000 square feet of CoreTech flooring by Shaw in stock right now. They're the only company that has that much inventory in stock that you can go and see it, feel it, touch it, check it out in person. That to me is a great, great thing to have when it comes to the peace of mind, when it comes to making a decision that is this significant. These are really nice floors that will waterproof your home, kid-proof your home, pet-proof your floor. They're a breeze to clean and maintain, and they will bring value to your home or business. You can also get 12 months financing with approved credit. So if you want to make some adjustments to your floors, call Fu. Call them today at 205-518-6423, or you can go online at fuandyou.com.
I will attempt to answer, maybe back up one of Greg McElroy's debates that he just had with himself next on the air. Mac and Cube in the morning. 7:50 Monday, April 7th, Jocks 94.5. Appreciate you tuning in. 800-239-9569. When we come back on the other side, this Auburn basketball season, what do you make of it? How will it go down for you? What will you remember by it? We'll discuss that there. You can tweet in at Mac and Cube. You can also text into the show, 205-834-9450. Before I help Greg McElroy solve a debate that he had with himself in our previous segment, I will tell you about my friends at Royal Automotive. If you're shopping for a new ride, spring savings event is on. My friends at Royal want to help you experience how car buying should be. 4 Royal-owned dealerships, 1 location, selection and savings unmatched. Get to $10,250 off select 2025 GMC Sierra models. Volkswagen deal days on. It means you can get up to $2,500 in customer bonuses on select models. Choose luxury safety when you expect from the Volvo SUV lineup, XC40, XC60, XC90 models. $1,000 70th anniversary bonus, 3.99 APR up to 72 months. Royal Buick GMC, Royal Volkswagen, Royal Automart, Volvo Cars of Vestavia Hills, all at the corner of I-65 and Highway 31 of Vestavia. Online, royalautomotive.net. Make Royal your first and last stop when car shopping. Okay, so you asked the question, Julio Jones, Hall of Famer. Hope most people believe or think that he also should be. 13 NFL seasons, 914 receptions. That would rank 27th all time. 13,703 receiving yards would rank 16th all time. 66 touchdowns would rank 61st all time. He would also rank 27th in receptions. I said that. Receiving yards per game, 82.5 would be 5th all time. 100-yard receiving games, he would have 59. That's tied for 3rd all time. Also, franchise leader in receptions, receiving yards for the Atlanta Falcons. I would think that would be a yes for me if you're asking if Julio Jones is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I'd hope so. I think he certainly deserves it.
If it's Major League Baseball, I think he's definitely in. But
I hope
football,
so.
That's
If it's Major League Baseball, he's waiting 3 or 4 years. But yeah,
well, yeah, they're not going to put him in on the right away. But I do think that he should. I think he should be in. I don't think a lot of people would debate it. I don't know. Maybe Major League Baseball would look at Tennessee, Tampa, Philadelphia towards the end of the year and say, if you'd have done it in one franchise, you're first ballot.
Ooh, hey, that's what's going to hold him up.
Well, we've heard that from certain baseball players here recently. Well, he played his whole career there. Did not know that was a qualifier.
Huge qualifier.
It's big.
Matters a lot.
If you can pull that off, then you have a chance to go ahead and get there. Paul Finebaum mentioned it with us, though. Texas A&M going to hire Sanford head basketball coach Bucky McMillan, also coached locally here at Mountain Brook. Your thoughts on this, Greg? A&M fans not excited about it, not happy, saying this ain't the SoCon. I think the guy can coach. So
Rick Pitino, like what is
probably could have gotten him, by the way.
Here's the thing that's funny to me is I look at some of the guys that have had success, like who right now is doing great things in college basketball as a young coach, Todd Golden, right? What's his story? Where'd he come from? San Fran? This ain't the West Coast Conference. Well, I mean, if you got deep pockets and your guy can coach, you can do good things. Nate Oates pretty good. Where's he from? Buffalo. This ain't the MAC.
John Shire hadn't been coaching for 30 years.
Well, John Shire.
It's Duke, though.
John Shire, a little different situation, just partly because he was kind of raised in the system, right? I mean, he was raised in the Duke system, and
yeah, but A&M doesn't have that option.
Yeah, so
that's like saying after Bruce leaves, the next Auburn coach should be raised in the system. It just doesn't. I mean, unless you're talking about Steven, then that's not really a real conversation because there hasn't been 4 or 5 head coaches that have taken you to the Final Four. You could just pick one from one of those runs or one of those eras that were also great. It's just not a real thing. A&M doesn't have that. So I think it's a good hire. I think A&M fans will love watching their basketball team and love their style of ball, which is big. If you want to build the fan base and you want fans to support it, they usually need to enjoy watching it. And that's not always wins and losses. Sometimes that's just, hey, it's a fun team to go watch play. We like the way they play. And I think that'll be a real part of it as well. So I hate it for Sanford and I hate it for Coach Newton. But either way, they got to go find a new basketball coach. And I think that they show that Sanford can be a bit of a little bit of a destination job, and one that you can build your name and maybe stick around for a while. Coach on a beautiful campus, coach in a cool town. And if you want to use that to get to a bigger spot, you'll be able to do that too.
Well, I also think too, SoCon and Sanford, pretty cool place, like pretty good place to be. Still have access to the tournament. Still can put forth a good product. Like they'll find you. And I think it speaks a little bit more even to not just coaches, but also to players. Like they'll find you. If you can coach, if you can play, you will get found.
No doubt.
And I think that a lot of people get the sense that that's not the case all the time. You have to be a big spotlight, big platform, huge place with tremendous success for you to ever find success and to be found by the big dogs. That's not the case. I couldn't be happier for what's going down for Bucky and everybody.
All right, we will continue to discuss Auburn's basketball season. Where does it rank for you? Best all time? Should it be remembered that way? What was most memorable about it for you? As we will discuss Bruce Pearl's team going out of the Final Four, not playing for a national title, but yet how should it be remembered? 800-239-9569. You want to get in? Do you have an idea, a feel for what next year is going to be like with any of these teams? Really, it's tough to project. It's just going to be different at the end of tonight's broadcast as it was after the national championship game. We'll discuss all that and more next on Jocks 94.5. The Masters starts Thursday, Greg. Should we dive into it today?
I think we just do full field breakdown here. It's not that we have the
What's
national
the menu
championship
look
tonight.
like for the dinner we're not going to?
What's the stint meter?
How are the greens rolling?
I think they're fast.
Is there a new cut of rough?
Yes.
How many trees did they cut down?
They did lose some trees in the storm. That is accurate. So supposedly it will look a little different.
What dog leg has been extended?
13.
How many yards?
Don't know. I'd work in meters.
Which hole are they going to add wind on?
Just put fans out there. Could you imagine? Like the courses we all play. Like we have fans down here, right? It's in the south. It makes sense. The greens get hot. You don't want to burn up. Like you have fans. It's not like that unusual to play courses with fans. What if you saw fans around Augusta National? Just blowing fans, blowing balls off the green.
It's not tough enough. And we can make it go either direction.
Are you excited about it? Are you going to tune into the par 3?
I'm probably not. I mean, if I have in front of a TV doing nothing, then I'll have it on. But am I going to sit there and watch it and stare at it? I'm going to say no. It's just trying to be honest with our listeners. I know a lot of them are going to act like they're really mad at that. But
Amen Corner.
I will have it on over the course of the weekend. I'm not going to be at one of my son's baseball games Saturday morning with like my phone staring at it and missing their at bats because I need to see, Kevin Na putt on 11, but we'll be all right.
Why are you so down on Kevin Na?
No, how's that down that people want to watch him putt?
Kevin Na is baller.
Big time. Especially on 11. The extra slope on the green.
Which hole is 11?
I don't know.
What's the name of it?
Grandma's mailbox. I don't know.
Pink dogwood or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Gosh, you were so down on the Masters.
Rosewood Orenthal. I don't know.
Makes me so sad.
I'm not down on anything. It's just that some people refuse to take a step back and have an understanding that it's a little ridiculous, some of the discussion around it.
So,
like we're promoting it now.
Is there beef with Liv over now? Like, is it cool?
There's 12.
The Masters never had a beef with anybody.
Well, Masters, no.
There's 12 Liv players in the field, several of which are former champions, past champions. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to keep trending in a direction where there's less and less, but it's looking more and more that way. Last year was 13. I think they peaked at like 15 a couple years back. So, yeah, we're trending in the direction where there'll be fewer live players now.
Let's satisfy this portion of our audience real quick.
Okay.
That wished we talked more golf. John brings up a fascinating point. There was a time even on this show that we talked about it every day for around 2 weeks. And now it feels like the Live versus PGA is just gone.
People are over it. Yeah.
People are over it, but where are the two sides?
Liv was on Fox, like main Fox this weekend.
Yes.
I thought it was still on CW. Like,
no, Liv is on Fox.
Like, whoa, that's okay. Wow.
No, Liv is on Big Fox now.
Were you more surprised that you didn't find it when you went and looked for it on CW, or that you accidentally stumbled upon it on Fox?
That was more the latter, because I was like, oh, what's all this? Is this a Sentai stream? Because all the stuff around the edges are like, oh, okay. Oh,
there you go.
This isn't Kai Sentai. Oh, this is. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Huh, it's still around. Cool.
So do they hate each other still? Are they mad at each other? Does Rory welcome the other guys back in with open arms?
I don't know the answer to when it's going to be completely ironed out, but I know things are trending in a direction where there was a $1.5 billion offer made, I believe, last week, and it was turned down by the PGA Tour. So I think they're going to just kind of coexist.
Wait, they offered 1.5 for the whole tour?
I don't know exactly what it meant. I just saw that they turned down 1.5 billion.
Don't see that very often.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of quiche. But anyways, I really don't know. I wish I could help you with that. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't think they're going to be in a huge hurry for the Live guys to come back. I know that some of the Live guys' contracts are expiring, so they might come back. Bryson and Brooks being the main two. That's about the extent in which I know about. I got to be honest. I just don't care.
We'll get our guy James Colgan on Wednesday or Thursday.
I like golf. I like it fine. To me, it's on in the background. I'm not grinding over Alexander Toasty against Brian Harmon for the San Antonio Championship.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
That one Mortal Kombat.
John, what does he do when he comes and sits down in here and there is a tournament that happens to be airing in our time zone during the show?
What would you
wrenches the remote from your
hand. Right now, we have a Fire Stick on this TV in the bottom left.
Yeah,
so
but none of the things are logged into, so we can't just go to watch whatever it is that you want to watch.
But we have a Fire Stick here in the bottom left. You have put on Mac and Cube in the morning. I don't need to watch our own show. I'm watching it right now in real life.
There's a problem with it.
I'm watching it right now in real time.
I don't watch it. It's there to see
if
if
I can
it blacks
look at
out.
you. I don't need, quite literally right now, my view. Top right, ESPN2, which is Sports Center.
So you have an advantage over me already.
Bottom right is Mac and Cube. Bottom left is Mac and Cube. Top left is turned off.
See, I can't see.
I have to look at Cole's face in 4 separate places right now.
You're welcome.
4 separate places.
Is that how they came up with 4K for Cubelic?
Yep.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
it. That's the one.
Yes. Quad. A Q with a Q. U like quad, like the quad box Q. Yeah. We have a lot here. It's just a lot. And if I want to have a little bit of live sports on, as opposed to get up for the 4th time or, Stephen A versus Mad Dog versus, Fox Business in the top right corner to show us that we're down another 800 points in the Dow this morning. Like I just like having maybe a little golf on, a little scenery. That's all it is. I'm not grinding over every shot. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you see that shot Ryan Fox hit on 3?
No, that's only reserved for the majors.
Now on Thursday, yes, I will have it.
Oh, you are human after all.
Yeah, it's of course it's Augusta National.
Yes, well, we'll have to get that. We mentioned the Auburn basketball season. Your thoughts on it? 800-239-9569. You want to get in, discuss it. What does it mean? How will it be remembered? How should we remember it? We will continue that conversation. I want to go quick portal update because it's a lot. I don't even know if we could do an update. It's literally at least half a segment to just say who's going where. From a football perspective, Oklahoma tight end Davin Mitchell is saying that he's going to go into the portal. Basketball, Jalen Curry has committed to Tennessee. He formerly played at JMU and Vanderbilt. Jacoby Gillespie has also committed to Tennessee. He played at Belmont and Maryland. Ole Miss is going to get Corey Chest, who played at LSU. Missouri is getting Luke Northwander, who played at Oklahoma. Illinois is getting Big Z from Arkansas, who also played at Kentucky. Kentucky is getting Jalen Lohr, who played at Pitt. Michigan is getting Yaxel Lindenborg, here from UAB. Vanderbilt is getting Jalen Washington, who played at North Carolina. Texas is getting Cam Hyde. LSU's Damian Collins, who was a former 5-star recruit, is in the portal. And they're also getting forward Mac Maskinon, who played at Portland. And UAB guard Jabari McGee is committed to Mississippi State. Your thoughts on all those, Greg?
Love that. It's great. A lot of movement.
It's a lot of movement.
Yaxel's out.
It's a lot of guys who, well, I don't think that anybody thought he was going to play at UAB again. It was going to be either draft or probably end up at a school like Michigan, and now it looks like it's going to be Michigan. So, listen, I'll root for the guy no matter what. He's a fun player to watch. Been a great ambassador for UAB basketball in the city of Birmingham. I hope he does well. Would have loved to have seen him on an SEC team. That would have been a little bit more enjoyable to follow, but hopefully there at Michigan, he can continue. He's going to do what he does. I mean, he's a double machine. I don't think anybody doubts that.
No. I will be curious as the portal, I don't want to say closes today because it's the house settlement day or whatnot. I don't know when it closes exactly, if you want me to be completely honest, when it comes to basketball. Fair. But how much does it calm down after today? Because right now you are grandfathered in under the original rules if you agree to terms in your NIL deal that before the house settlement goes into place. But if you agree right now, after, let's say the house settlement gets passed today and you agree to terms tomorrow, guess what? You are subject to the new changes that have been made to NIL beginning on June 30th, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a pretty significant situation today where timing is of the utmost importance. And this thing might get delayed 30 days by the judge that's deciding on it. It might be postponed. All that's real. But I don't know right now if it's going to calm down immediately.
I don't think it ever calms down again, Greg, to be honest with you.
You don't think so?
No, I just think that it's going to be, because you have we've talked about this before. When the portal's not even open, you have guys announcing that they intend to go in. So, and that is to begin that negotiation process. I would imagine a lot of times when you see that so-and-so is reporting that so-and-so plans to enter the portal, that is the agent getting that information and then sharing it with reporters so they can begin to negotiate because coaches are going to see that kid's name out there. That's what that is. A lot of these kids may not even want their name out there and may not want their teammates or coaches to know that that's their intention, but they're going to sit there and tell them, hey, we need to get this going. We need to let people know that this is your intention so we can begin to start marketing you and we can begin to start, as Kirby Smart stated, these agents are having Zoom calls and doing PowerPoint presentations with everybody that they have. And Kirby's said, hey, I might want to jump on some of these to see if my guys are there because I don't know. I don't know if they're there or not. I just don't think it's going to slow down. I don't think there's a portion of it that guys are going to want leverage. Guys are going to want to exercise their freedoms, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so I think when you look at it from that perspective, it's never going to truly slow down.
No, I don't think it's ever going to slow down, but I got news for you. The amount of money that's going out to basketball players in particular, the $2.5 million for a 3.5 star is outrageous. And it might get pushed, like Paul alluded to the black market a little bit more. Maybe it's a little bit more under the table because real NIL has to be involved here. Like real NIL is a factor. So you need to make sure that if you're doing the NIL world, it has to be authentic and it has to be real. And there are a system of checks and balances that are being put in place supposedly to make sure that it isn't taken advantage of as a pay for play model. But we will see, I think, as we move forward just a little bit more, I think it's worth acknowledging that it's probably going to be hard to put $1 million into a duffel bag and put it on someone's back porch. Back in the day, you can maybe do it with 10,000. Now, $1 million, probably going to be a little tougher to hide.
But does it have to be that if that's not necessarily the market? Like if that's not what's going around, is that what it has to be? Like do you have to come up with that much money, I guess? If like it's where it is right now, like you said, because that's what everybody else is paying. You say it's hard to come up with that much money, but if not everybody else is paying that, you don't have to necessarily match it, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean that's what's expected. So I don't know. Unless there's some massive market correction. The most difficult part is what you're talking about is that, that market correction. Like the agents are going to be holding on to it and want that. And which could absolutely happen. And the payers are going to sit back and say, well, that's not what it is anymore. No.
We don't have that.
We don't have that.
Yeah, sorry.
Ain't available to you.
That'll be interesting to see sort of which direction that goes. And if it means you better find it, you're going to have to find it, or certain people are going to come up with it. Maybe that's where, as you discussed, the Big East does have real advantages where they can say, well, hold on now, we do have that available right here.
Right. And I really hope that it does not have a huge impact on, I really hope that it doesn't have a huge impact on where things are going, with guys leaving early. Like I've kind of enjoyed the fact that guys have decided to come back. Mark Sears is a good example. Like last year, he could have gone to the NBA, could have been an early second round pick, late first round pick, and he would have been lost forever in the G League. Or you can come back to college and make one more good run at it. I think college basketball has benefited greatly from NIL because we now actually get to see guys play for more than a couple years. And while the transfer market is challenging, we at least know some of the guys that are coming back, and you can have some momentum as opposed to recreating your roster year to year. So I think it's helped college football or college basketball greatly. And I am concerned about if the NIL money is not what it was these last couple of years, will that be problematic for the health of the sport moving forward?
It's a good question. We don't know the answer to that. So we'll continue discussing it, and we will come back to Auburn's basketball season. You'll hear from a couple of players and Bruce Pearl again from after the game. 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. 800-239-WJOX. Don't have to call that number, though, to see all of the great items they have at Bromberg's.
Bromberg's is terrific. And if you're thinking about making a purchase that could potentially last in your family's arsenal forever, Bromberg's is the place to go. Look, these are really good people. I've been working with them for years. I've been grateful for the experience that I've had every single time I've walked in the door at Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit. And go get yourself a natural diamond. That, I think, is the best purchase that you could possibly make. It's beautiful. It's one of a kind. For one, I'm going to be honest with you. I walked in the door at Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and said, I don't know anything about diamonds. I know nothing about them. I can't tell. I know you got GIA certified. You got all this other stuff. I can't tell the difference between something that's highly rated or something that's really not that great. So I need your help. And of course, Bromberg's so happy to help guide you through the process and to make it a little bit easier on you. They're upfront. You know what you're going to get, and you know you're going to get great quality when you shop at a place that's been in business for nearly 200 years. So go and check out Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit. You can always check it out online as well at brombergs.com.
All right, when we come back, more on this Auburn basketball season. How should it be remembered? Best in school history? How will you remember it? Right after this on Jocks 94.5. How will this Auburn basketball season be remembered by you? How should we remember it? Second half was a little bit different than the first half as Auburn goes down 79-73 to the Florida Gators over the weekend. They'll finish 32-6, record for most wins in a single season. But as I stated earlier in the show, you felt like you were in a pretty good spot with an 8-point lead going into the half, and then Janai Broom had not been dominant. Pettiford hasn't really done a whole lot there. You said, all right, if they can get something going, you feel like you'd be in a pretty good spot. But it was Walter Clayton Jr. in Florida that got something going. Bruce Pearl just on how the Florida Gators were able to win that second half.
Yeah, we knew they'd come out aggressively, but I was hoping that our starters would be able to withstand. I did not call timeout in the first 4 minutes. I was trying to get to the TV timeout. We got to it. Obviously those starters, my top 5 players, all seniors. And, I just think that, again, we came out offensively and we didn't run some of the things that we had talked about running the way we talked about running them. And so just 12 turnovers, bad execution, bad decision-making, bad passing, catching. Took a lot of shots that we did not want to take.
So the shot selection was poor at times. I don't think it would take Bruce Pearl to share that with folks and have them understand it, G-Mac. But you got to give Florida's defense some credit for that as well. Tons.
And Florida's good, man. I mean, Florida's really, really good. And I'm not sure, a lot can be made of just how good they are in general. So I think there's reason to believe that Florida's they're favored tonight for a reason. They got maybe the best player in the tournament so far that I've seen. I mean, he's incredible. So we'll be really encouraged to see exactly kind of what happens tonight and if the intensity of Houston defensively can slow down a Florida team that's been pretty lights out.
Absolutely. Janai Broom after the game on his conversation with Sir Charles after the loss.
He just, thanked me for what I've done for Auburn. Told me to keep my head high. Just coming from a guy like who submitted himself in Auburn history means a lot.
And that's one of the great things about playing college basketball certain places is you get to talk to those kind of guys. You get words of encouragement from those guys. And Janai Broom will go down as one of the best to do it in Auburn basketball history. G-Mac, I don't think anybody can deny that.
Yeah, who would push back on that? I mean, I just wonder, too. I mean, if he were at 100% this year, and let's be real, man, he was pretty beat up. If he were at 100%, what do you think that would have looked like? What do you think that would have, how much would that have changed as it relates to where they could have gone?
Yeah, I hate to say that because it almost sounds like, it sounds a little bit like sour grapes now. I don't want people to think that I'm looking at it that way, but since you asked, I think it could have been different. You could have run more of the offense through him. I don't think that it was a dedicated, let's feed the ball to Janai Broom on the majority of our possessions against Florida. There was times it looked like he was playing one-handed to a certain extent a lot against the Gators. And, a lot of his rebounding opportunities seemed to be with one arm, like trying to tip the ball instead of trying to go get it and attack it with two hands. Some of the shot selection from him individually, I felt like looked like they were hampered just a little bit, but that's not an excuse as to why they lost. It's not. Florida was a better team.
Excuse.
And I do think it could have looked a little bit different, but I also wonder, go back towards the end of the season when we were asking the question of, should you sit back and sit him for a game, 2 games, try to get him somewhat healthy? And then with the way that it happened against Michigan State, Greg, I don't know if that matters because that was almost a little bit of a new deal. I mean, it was like knee, elbow, shoulder, wrist, all in one sort of situation. So would it have mattered at all then if you gave him some rest prior to that? Probably not.
No,
because he got dinged again. It was a new deal, but it's just it seems like because of where he is, how he plays, some of the prior injuries that are leading to some of the newer injuries, I don't know if he could have gone to 100% or close to it, even if you had given him a week off, 2 games off, because there were different things at different times. But would have loved to have seen it. I'll say that. Would have loved to have seen him be able to assert himself and essentially toss it down inside on 75% of the possessions in this tournament and let him be the one that dictated things, kind of like he did the first half of the basketball season.
Well, the thing about where things could go for him, I mean, he is the real deal. I mean, really, really a great player, and I think will always be remembered as an all-time great for Auburn. Now, who can push back on that? Nobody.
You can't.
Nobody pushed back on that. But I do wonder if he had been a little bit healthier, maybe things would have been different. I don't know. It's not sour grapes. It's the reality of the situation. Like we've had that if this and that forever, but he just didn't have the same type of consistency down the stretch. And I'm talking even dating back in even the last 2 or 3 games of the regular season. He wasn't the same guy. I mean, you look at the Janai Broom that played Bama the first time around in Tuscaloosa. Like, look at that version of Janai Broom. Had he been that guy the rest of the way, how different would the outcome have looked? I think that's a question that deserves to be asked. And like I said, not sour grapes by any stretch from Auburn's perspective. It's just a reality and acknowledgement of how good he was at his best.
So we asked the question kind of, how will you remember this season? Where should this season be remembered? Jolly tweets in, Auburn had a great basketball season. Winning it all is hard in any upper level competition. Seemingly needs to look at Florida and really dissect the coach's perspective, what the weakness was in scheme and plan. Well, I would.
Is there a problem with the scheme?
I don't think so, because you heard Bruce Pearl. We played him earlier. He talked about what they had planned for and what they did not execute. Well, there's a lack of execution, and you can't put that on the plan. Some people would put it on coaching, saying you didn't coach them well enough to execute it. I don't really lean that direction as much.
I don't see it that way.
But if the plan was to do certain things, and he talked about trapping the ball on Walter Clayton and trying to prevent him from getting the ball as much as they did, they didn't execute it well. I mean, he admitted that was part of our plan. We just didn't do it. He talked about shot selection. It was poor. I don't think the plan was, fade away one-handed hook shots from 7 feet away from the rim.
No.
There were a couple of those.
But doesn't mean that was like what Bruce was trying to dial up. I mean, like, let's be real. I just think you lost to a better team. And I think you lost to a better player. Simple as that. I mean, Walter Clayton couldn't be contained. But it was strange to watch how things change, how much things changed from first half to second half. First half is a very different animal from what we saw in the second half offensively.
Edmund Whitfield tweets in, thank God for NIL and transfer portal. Not sure what else could be discussed on the Monday after the Final Four.
What do we want to talk about? Do you want to call in?
Why do you think? Do you think people just tweet in that don't listen, and they think that that's like they have an opinion on what has or has not been discussed if they don't listen to the show?
Well, we've been on for an hour and 28 minutes. Talked about a lot of things. Even talked about Augusta.
I feel like we let off the show with Final Four, but that's not good enough for Edmund. The last segment, and then the first segment and a half, and then another one on the back end of the first hour.
We can't please everybody, Cole.
Especially not Edmund.
It's okay, Edmund.
Lou Dog AU. Would you like to drill in a little bit more how Auburn lost, Edmund? Is that what you'd like to discuss? Hammer in on the lack of offensive rebounding?
Play by play.
Hammer in on Pettiford being 1 for 6. Would you like to discuss that a little bit more? I personally don't. But
it doesn't change
that's
much.
Where you would like us to go.
It doesn't change much. That's for sure.
Broom 6 for 14 from the floor. Would you like to hammer in that just a little bit more, Edmund?
I would like to wonder. You watched the game by yourself, right?
No, I watched it with my family.
Okay, with your family, but you didn't watch out with. You did not watch it with people.
They are humans.
Last you checked, yeah.
Yes, you did not watch it with anyone outside of the Cubelic household.
Correct.
Okay.
Many invitations, none accepted. Sorry.
What percentage of the people that were watching as Alabama fans do you think were rooting hard against Auburn on Saturday? Because I will admit, the group that I was watching with, it was as if Florida were wearing crimson jerseys.
Yeah. I would say 90%, and I would say 50% of that 90% will tell you that they weren't.
We're not rooting?
Correct. For Florida.
I'm talking like it was more hardcore. Fist bumps, high fives. It was hardcore. I will admit, we were in the group.
Dr. Rick, Tide World Order, tweets in, how do you react to people on @X calling Auburn the quote regular season national champion?
Is that a thing?
So there's another thing that's happening, and that is people see one person say something, being a smartass about it, and they put it on an entire fan base. That's got to stop.
Someone on it. There's no way that anyone thinks that that's a real thing.
When stupidity like that arrives, I feel like the only way to respond to it is with counter stupidity. In that, if you think that an entire group of people believe that because one person is being an idiot and saying it, I think it's almost a more reflection on the person who believes it. So I don't. If I saw that, I would move directly past it.
I don't know
because of the asinine manner in which someone even attempted to present it.
But was it an actual Auburn fan that said that? Or was it said by another fan base and has since been attached?
I just want to go back to bed. Can I go back to bed now?
Right now.
This very second, I would like to go back to bed.
I would like to know what the regular season champion is. Someone's need to walk me through that.
It's not. It's not a thing. There is none. There is not.
So if you're the number 1 overall seed, that makes you the regular season champion.
I'll tell you what someone out there in the X sphere saying regular season national champion is. It's the people walking around saying that they're the director of the College Football Players Association. That's what it is. It's an effing make-believe title is what it is. It's fake. It's not real. And the person walking around puffing his chest out telling you that does not own that title because it's not a real thing. That's what it is.
It's a fugazi.
Same exact thing.
It's a fugazi is what you're telling me. I can get on board with that. If that's the case.
Look how important I am.
If that's the case, Bama won a national championship 2 years ago. Heck yeah.
Claim it.
I'm about to.
Put the banner up.
I'll ride. Number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Didn't win the championship in the postseason, but we won in the regular season, by God.
If I'm not mistaken, was Duke not number 1 when the regular season ended? In the AP?
No, number 1 overall seed.
No.
Got to go by seeds.
That's not a ranking. That's a seeding. Very different. Greg Skipworth tweets in, Auburn had a great season, but Florida made the adjustments in the second half and went away from what they did in the first half. I mean, if you want to say that they just told Walter Clayton to shoot the ball, then yeah.
Take over.
Great adjustment.
Go get him.
Hey, kid, it's your time to shine. Thanks, coach.
Yes.
$3.2 million per year. Let's give him an extension. Hey, best player we have. Shoot more. Thanks, coach.
Hey.
There's a reason Phil Jackson's the greatest head basketball coach in the history of the world.
How good. Hey, Kobe, take over, please. Hey, MJ, make it happen for us, will you?
Gino Ariema. Hey, Paige. Hey, Sarah. Shoot more.
Yeah.
Thanks, coach.
Done.
Got it.
Gosh, what a genius adjustment.
Gino, what'd you do at the half? Well, we really went back to the drawing board, and I got my coaches in the back room. We kind of drew it up for a minute, and then we came out of the locker room. We said, girls, best players shoot from here on out.
From now on, here's what we're going to do.
Coach, follow up to that. How did you come up with that philosophy? Yes. What book did you read by John Wooden that said, let best players shoot?
I think actually Naismith wrote that one.
You're probably right.
I do think it's one of those things that's really tough is figuring out, hey, you know what? Players over plays. Imagine that. Imagine coming up with that.
Not in the world of theater.
It sounds like you're are you taking this loss hard? I feel like you're taking this loss hard. I love Cole.
I'm taking stupidity hard this morning is what I'm taking hard.
I mean,
I woke up at 3:30 yesterday morning. I flew to Dallas. I did a game. I came back. I got to see my daughter on her birthday. I tried to go to bed right away. I didn't sleep well last night. I am not in a good place.
Don't be in a dark hole.
The stupidity in which people are arriving at this show today is mind-boggling for someone whose mind is not correctly operating.
Do not be in a dark hole. It's okay. We're going to get through this.
Makes you feel better.
Here's the thing. We've never seen our teams win a national championship in basketball. This is just par for the course.
Yes, you did. A regular season.
Stop, John.
Yeah. That's right. Hey,
you already claimed it.
Let's find the pot. You know what? Here's our hat. Here's our silver lining. Because we're always going to find a silver lining here. Alabama and Auburn have won 2 of the last 3 regular season national championships in basketball.
No, they haven't.
2 of the last 3. Our state dominates basketball. 2 of the last 3 national championships. You know how hard that is to do?
All right, UCF. Just stop.
In many ways, we are the UCF of college basketball.
It's not even funny. It's not.
Gosh, don't do it. Don't go in the hole. I'm going to bring you out of the hole today. Do you want to talk about O-line?
Yeah, we got a guy asking us if the schemes in the UFL are similar to college or the NFL. I'd rather talk about that than this. But John, what were you going to say? We were interrupting.
No, the schemes are completely different in the UFL than the college and NFL. What kind of question is that? Obviously, you can only run power one way.
I disagree. The Renegades are running same side power, which is actually pretty cool.
Same side power out of gun. Fine. Okay, that works. We can do that. That works. We had a play called Plant that was same side power. Guess what? We ran it in college. Guess what? One more. Ran in the NFL too.
Oh, who knew?
I got a play called Plant too. It's called Plant My Ass in Bed after the show.
God, you're in a dark hole.
I was going to make you feel better about not sleeping because I woke up twice and both times I found a spider on me.
That's good.
Yeah.
You want to talk about not sleeping after that?
So at what point today do you burn your house down?
I don't know. I didn't burn it after I found a snake after I made one mortgage payment and I was ready to sell right then and there. I was like, you know what? Maybe this.
Do you live in the rainforest?
You would think, but no. It feels like
he lives in the rainforest of Homewood. Like what rainforest are you referring to?
How do you?
There's 7 pines that we pass on the way to work. Like that's the rainforest.
Just a second. I want to come back to this on the other side because this is how that happens twice in an evening. I think I need to know. But one thing that you guys definitely know is that the weather in Alabama is unpredictable. That's why you need the reliability of a Train, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. Right now, you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. Find out more at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. Weather. I want to tell you guys about the weather issue we had with my flight yesterday. I've never heard anything like this. And then how you find a spider on you twice in an evening. Next, Mac and Cube in the morning. I said we were going to talk about weather when we came back. Before we do that, we have not gotten to one thing that took place over the weekend. And there were a lot of things that took place. But first,
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
what the puck is back?
Are you all in on the Rangers this year? Or are you going to come to the Stars bandwagon?
Rangers did beat the Caps yesterday 4-1.
Yeah, but
Alex Ovechkin passes Wayne Gretzky as the king of goals in the NHL.
he's the regular season national champion of goals.
Is he the regular season all the time?
I don't know.
I love that yesterday they broke into our game to announce that he did this.
Did they?
They did. Well, they didn't show it, but they like had the graphic ready.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was Mark or Kirk said something like, they're like, yeah, he had a, what's it called? Vacant net, open net,
Yes, open net. Yeah.
goalie-less net.
Uh-huh.
Empty net.
He had an empty net earlier and decided not to take the shot as a tip of the cap to Gretzky. And that was on the tip of my tongue. And I almost said, what about the other 62 goals he scored with open net and decided to take those? Does those count? Like,
Yes.
Who cares?
Wow.
Who cares? Just
Absolute
take it. Get it over
heat.
with.
He's so mad today.
Okay, Greg, you are a hockey expert. Your thoughts on Ovechkin taking the all-time record?
He's still not the greatest goal scorer in the history of the National Hockey League. He might have more goals.
Actually,
that's fine.
But
He was just
technically,
we just said that.
That's
is.
fine, but
he has more than
In an effort to increase interest, however many years ago, they increased the size of the net drastically. So it'd literally be the equivalent. You think I'm kidding when I say this? It'd be the equivalent of them now playing in the NBA and having LeBron break all the records, but they actually dropped the NBA's goal size to 9.5 feet. That's the equivalent. So Wayne Gretzky is still the all-time leading goal scorer because he played in an era in which it was not encouraged to score goals. It was hard to score goals back then because the net was much smaller. Now, if you want to push back on that, you could say, well, the goalies have gotten bigger, which is accurate. There's 6'5", 6'6" goalies now because size at that position has become significantly more important. But I still acknowledge Alexander Ovechkin's greatness. He's phenomenal. The greatest
passed
player
Gretzky in the same number of games.
in a bigger net.
How is he not the greatest?
He's not your regular season champ. Okay,
in a bigger net era. They changed the size of the net.
Should we go back and talk about the kickers? And
Do you also want to talk about how in
others?
overtime they play 4-on-4? You want to talk about like some of the other aspects of
I
it?
don't know the difference. Is it 4-on-4 as opposed to what?
It's just more open ice. It's just
What is it
6
usually?
I guess.
what's that?
4-on-4
6 on-
versus
what
6
is
on
it?
6.
What is it normally? Is we're asking.
5-on-5.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The goal
Well,
counts.
not
No,
including
not
the goalie.
basketball. Hockey.
Yes, no, 5-on-5.
Well,
It's not
basketball.
including the goalie. The
Basketball,
goalie
5-on-5.
is the goalie is his own world.
So he doesn't even count.
No, 5-on-5.
But he does when there's an open net, so it's 6.
And he does
Well,
when he's 6'6" compared to Gretzky's goalies who are 5'2".
No, they were 5-2. Quite.
They didn't even get to the top of the net bar.
So
They had the masks that like were cut out, and you could wear like Jason masks.
I do wish they would go back to the Jason hockey mask. Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
that's too
How
hardcore.
have they not like retrofitted one that looks like that in the
think,
new
yeah.
masks? And why have hockey face masks not been banned like they were in the NFL? They don't deem those dangerous.
no, they don't care about
well,
safety.
It's a conversation for tomorrow.
No one's
when we have
concerned
nothing
about
else to talk
hockey
about.
safety. That
So-
happened. They're literally running around with weapons in their hands and knives on their feet.
Back to NIL and transfer portal, just for our guy that's tweeting in earlier.
So was LeBron not the all-time basketball scorer?
No, John. No,
because there's a
he's
three-pointer.
taller.
Well, there's a 3-point line, so okay.
It's true. It's well said.
Because Wilt would have been knocking down those threes.
Oh.
Him and Kareem.
So Emmett's not the all-time rusher.
No,
Okay.
the linebackers are bigger.
It's like when guys now go over 2,000 yards receiving in a season, they play an extra game. I mean, these are things. Everyone's throwing
Let's
for
not act like
5,000.
there's
So
a
you're
ton of
telling
guys
me-
going over 2,000 yards receiving.
I'm
Things
just using
before
that
the
example.
90s actually do exist and count.
No, nothing before 98. You know that.
Then how does this work now?
Because it's the opposite when it comes to hockey.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I got it now.
This is going to be a lot to keep up with.
It's not hard. They made the goal bigger. What year did they do that? What year did they increase the size of the goal? What year did they increase the size of the goal? Let me know, Grok. In hockey, that would be, come on, AI. All right, no, that's the crease. I don't know about the crease.
Y'all think AI knows everything.
Wow.
2005, 2006.
So recently.
How about Ovechkin's whole career?
Here's a question I have for the sports world. When can we get to 1 year leagues as far as hockey and basketball? Can we just start calling it by the year that it ends? Because we all say that the part that happens in the prior year doesn't count anyway.
Yeah.
Like, could this just be the 25 basketball season? Because it will work if it's only that moving forward. So the 25 season, the 26 season. The 2 years on the seasons it's just too much. Why are we doing that still?
That is dumb.
You think that we would have progressed past that?
You'd hope.
It's like the people in college football that try to claim the 2019 national championship game for the 2018 season. Just make it the 18 national championship game. I know it's being played at 19, but guy, we watched the whole season.
You need to tell the CFP to not put the patches on there. Just skip a year and put the patch, because this year they had like what 25. And it's like, well, hold on.
I'm with you. It's not. No. We haven't played the 25 season.
Right.
John Mack tweets in, Mac and Cube, I'm sorry, Echo Cubelic. I don't feel sorry for you one single bit for Auburn not winning a basketball natty. As an Aggie, I've never seen a natty in my major sport, so sorry. STHU, LOL.
Got him.
I'm not asking for sorrow.
If you want people to feel sorry for you, it's fine.
All right, so tell me if you've ever had this one, because there are people that are a little confused on something that I tweeted out, by the way, and we've talked about it before. Is now, hold on, what was the guy's name? What was the guy's name that was mad earlier? Edmund. We're going to talk air travel now, Edmund.
Oh, when Cole goes down that rabbit hole.
On the other side, first tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Polar Bear Services is great. They can do so many things for you around your house. They've been doing it for me for a long time. We had crazy heat on Thursday and Friday, but guess what? We're going to have some cold weather here starting up this week as well. It's a little chilly this morning.
I was in it yesterday. Let me tell you.
It's coming.
I'm not joking.
It is coming for sure. They say it could even reach freezing. So you think that's putting your system to the test? AC running during the day, heat running at night. It is being challenged like you wouldn't believe. That's why I highly recommend Polar Bear Services to come out and get your system ready to roll for the summer months ahead. They can do system tune-ups, duct cleaning, repair, new installations. We know that hot weather is going to be here, so make sure that your system is prepared. They also can handle plumbing, and they do a great job with home electrical needs, including the installation and service of home generator systems, which can be super helpful during the storm season. Serving all over the great state of Alabama. Remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
Weather and air travel next. Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 8:52, Monday, April 7th. Get to the airport Sunday morning. And the guy comes out. For some reason, the speaker or whatever, the PA guy. And he says, we've got a little bit of an issue. There's a storm in between us and Dallas. We're trying to find a new flight path. Stick with us. Hopefully we can get you back on schedule. So we wait a few minutes. He comes, the guy says, good news, headquarters and pilots have come to an agreement, new flight plan. We're going to have to take you guys out over the Gulf of Mexico, which I thought was a little odd because I thought it was Gulf of America now.
Whoa.
And then circle right back into Dallas. And I started thinking, I might not be the most geographically sound human on earth.
That doesn't feel right.
That feels like a hell of a U-turn.
Yeah.
Is that not way
out of there?
I felt like it was.
It feels like it's pretty far.
And we still got in I looked out the window a couple of times. I never saw the water. So I don't know if we actually made it over, but we were still only 20 minutes behind, which wasn't that bad. And then for the folks that are responding to the picture that I tweeted out, that was not the boarding process that I am frustrated with.
Yeah.
That is the carry-on retrieval process on the jetway that I have had about enough of. And I do not understand why we cannot come up with another way to do this. Just send the bags to bag check. Just send it to the conveyor belt.
It is very irritating.
Because asking me to walk 9/10 of the way up the jetway to turn around and get in line to then face oncoming traffic of those who didn't have a carry-on, of which I may or may not be able to even see my bag 150 yards down the jetway.
Yeah.
And then trying to retrieve bag through the other 7 people whose bags have just come out, yet they are closer in line.
It's the worst.
I do not understand that. Listen, getting on a plane, it's bad.
It's bad.
The people who stand by the conveyor belts to get their bag with their toes up next to the machine, you are an evil person.
Oh, come on.
All of you. You are. They are.
Why?
You're bad people.
Why does that make you bad?
Because there's 1,100 other people trying to get their bags, but you stand there like you own that damn conveyor belt.
Well, maybe they do.
They'd be at a different one if they
But this right here is nonsensical in every way, shape, form, and possible. It is. There's no part of it that makes a single ounce of sense. There isn't. You can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
Hey, go stand up there. At some point, your bag's coming out here where you just walk past. And I know you can't see your bag, but try to guess when it pops out and then battle oncoming traffic to get back down to retrieve your bag, which may or may not be there that you thought you saw because there's 7 other bags that look just like yours.
Mm.
And let me just tell you, the meemaws who come out and stand like second or third in line.
So maybe that's the next top 3 we do, like top 3 worst people dealing with air travel.
That's it.
The mouth breathers that stand right there, the ones that clap as soon as you land, the ones that
honestly,
stand up as soon as
saying this. I haven't heard the clap when you land thing in a minute.
It's still out there.
I don't know. That one might need to be proven to me. I haven't seen that one.
What about the person in front of you that triple checks their when your knees are up against their seat, and they triple check the recline. So it's not just push button and recline. It's to make sure they're jamming your kneecaps as hard as they can. Get to Richard Hendricks in just a moment, 9 a.m., final hour of the show. Royal Payne tweets in a clip from Washington's Ghost at Heart Goat. Y'all ever seen ice football? I don't know where this is. It sounds like it's in Germany. Is that German they were speaking?
Well, I couldn't tell if it was German, but some type of Germanic language.
A little Farfignuganish.
Yes.
I am in on this, by the way. Sign me up. I'd like to go call
you
this. You want
to play?
I would go call it. No, I want to be on the call for this.
And you're
American
concerned about a flight to
ice.
Dallas, and you want to go fly to Germany?
I mean, it can't get worse.
I'll raise you one. The hour and 40-minute flight to Dallas. Yeah, I'll raise you one to Munich. I do think it could be.
We're calling all these things remote now anyway. I just
a little worse.
Give me a remote.
You have to call it in the language that they were calling it in.
I'll make it up as we go. I do like the touchdown and completion are not in German, but this is incredible. Center gets absolutely trucked. We'll retweet that from Mac and Cube so you guys can go see it. Richard Hendricks joins us each and every week. Thanks to our friends at Pizza Pulls. They're over at fanaticslive.com now. If you're looking to get into the Live golf cards, the Disney cards, or you want football, baseball, basketball, all there on Fanatics Live at Pizza Pulls. Go check them out now. Richard, how will you remember this Auburn basketball season? How should this Auburn basketball season be remembered?
Well, I think this team should be remembered as an all-time team. I mean, you talk about a season where everyone talks so highly of the SEC, the toughest season that it's been, top to bottom in the league, and Auburn was able to run through that gauntlet all throughout the season. To make it to a Final Four, be SEC regular season champs, this is something, if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm thrilled about. I mean, obviously, you don't finish it off by winning the national championship, but getting to the Final Four is a goal within the goal. And to make it that far with the team that's been able to take everyone's best punch, you have to be proud of them. Have a SEC Player of the Year, you have a Coach of the Year. I think it was a phenomenal year. It's very difficult to win a national championship. But this team and fan base, I don't think has anything to hang their head about.
No, I don't think anybody does. It was a great year, but it is a little disappointing to end it the way that you ended it, knowing that you felt like you were in pretty significant control at the midway point. What happened in the second half?
Well, it's like I touched on last week with Auburn. To me, the biggest thing was going to be, is this team going to have enough gas in the tank? And it showed that when you're playing against a team like Florida that goes 10 deep and definitely has big bodies on the interior, it started to weigh on Auburn. You talk about what Janai Broom was able to do all season long. He did not have that impact late in the season, and particularly in the Final Four game against Auburn in the second half. Against Florida in the second half. He plays a style with his back to the basket where he catches the ball and the defense is always loaded up on him. They allow him to be physical, and he needed to find a way to get some easy baskets in the pick and roll. When you use your body and you're so physical all season long and you demand a double team, you have to figure out a way to get some easy buckets and get to the free throw line throughout the course of the season. So when you get into late season play, you're not worn down and the guards can carry you over the top. To me, that was the biggest issue for Auburn. They were limping to the finish line, and they didn't have that ability to close it out.
Richard, you were a big when you played. Richard Hendricks joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Thanks to our friends at Pizza Pulls over at Fanatics Live. You know what it's like to go through a season in the post, and I imagine there were multiple years that you were just never 100% or maybe even really close to it through that entire year. When you watched Janai Broom operate in this game against Florida, because Greg and I talked about how we saw it earlier and just not looking 100%, and at the end of the game, just essentially looking old. Did it come across to you as though, yeah, this guy's just, I mean, he's out there just kind of hanging on for dear life physically?
Oh, yeah, and I saw it all season long. I mean, when you take the hits that he takes, and it's not also just the fact that you take the hits, it's the mentality that you have to have. When he takes hits, he lays on the ground a little bit long. He kind of, takes his time getting up and down the court. And all of that kind of stuff plays a role into how you feel moving forward. It's like, Noshawn Marino, when you hit the ground, you get tackled, you got to get up quick. It's all of that kind of stuff that you got going on in the mentality of being a big, because you're going to take those hits all season long. You're commanding a double team. You're getting trapped. They're going to foul you hard because they know you don't shoot free throws well. But you have to have something within you to show that your opponent that you're not impacted. And when you show your opponent that you are a little bit gimpy, that you're hurting, that you have something wrong, it's going to weigh on you. And he's a phenomenal player, but he's not a player that plays with a lot of high energy, doesn't get a lot of baskets in the pick and roll and outrunning his guys, and he doesn't have a quick burst off the ground. So he's a technical big that can punish guys with his size and his ability to use leverage. He's going to have to figure out some other ways to be effective as he moves forward, particularly on the professional ranks if he's not the focal point getting the ball and getting touches 15 to 20 times a night.
And when you look at what happened to Todd Pettiford, he had been so great all season long. It obviously did not materialize in this game, but I still, I mean, what a great freshman year. What exactly happened with him and why at the biggest possible moment did he go so cold?
Well, the reality of it is the Final Four was packed with all number 1 seeds. And you got teams that have veteran players, and he's running against 3 guards who are fifth-year seniors, if I'm not mistaken, with Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, and Will Richard. 2 of those guys we talk about have a football background. And when you have that type of toughness and maturity playing against a true freshman, it's going to show in the big moments. You have some freshmen that just are special, and particularly when they're special, they probably have some type of physical attribute with size and athleticism that can trump older, more mature player. But Pettiford, without his size, his positional size to not be any more than what Florida had, I think that started to weigh on him as the season started to go. It's a long year. And Auburn played the toughest opponents throughout the course of the year. And those body blows that you take throughout the season, they take a toll. And I think that was just the biggest impact for Auburn moving into the Final Four.
Is this the best Auburn basketball team in school history for you?
I mean, I think it's the best that I've seen. I mean, if not, I'd have to go back to with Damian Fishback and Chris Porter, Mamadou N'Ja. I think it was Coleman that was on that team with Cliff Ellis in 1999. So Doc Robinson, that would probably be the team that I would remember. That was a really good team. You go back a couple years ago with Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler. I would have to look at those in my lifetime, and that's no disrespect to maybe some teams that came before my time. But to win, I believe, 32 games on the season in SEC regular season champs, you have to respect that. And to take everyone's punch, I think for me, that would have to be at the top of what I've seen as far as what Auburn has put out.
How would you assess what happened down the stretch with Duke? Firm control. I'm sitting there watching it by myself at the end of the night on Saturday night, and I am just kind of paying attention, obviously feeling, all right, well, this is kind of chalky, but I'll see it through. I'll watch to the end. I was tired at that point. It was like 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. I'm like, I'm kind of dragging here, but I'll stay up and watch the end, just see what happens. But Duke's got this thing in the bag, and then boom, things flipped in an instant. Those final 90 seconds or so. What the heck happened? Duke went from complete control, not even being able to inbound the ball. How did that collapse occur?
Complete meltdown. And you want to give credit to Houston and say that they won the game, but I do think that Duke lost the game. This was a team that coming off of the win over Alabama in the Elite Eight, I think many people had them picked to win the whole thing, and they were in cruise control in this one against a tough Houston team. But not being able to execute in special situations in the game down the crutch, getting the ball in, not being tough and wanting to meet the pass and allowing Houston to hang around, those type of moments, even to get the technical foul as Cubler touched the ball on the inbounds, and it's 90 seconds to go in the game, and you got a chance to go to the free throw line to be up 6 or so to put the game away, to not be able to close it out. I mean, that is just something of an epic meltdown. But you have to give the credit to the Cougars. Kelvin Sampson has a team that is fighters. We talked about it last week. Most people couldn't name you 2 players on that team's roster, and they probably still can't name 2 players on it. But they got some tough dudes, and they showed that toughness. And here they are playing in the national championship tonight.
So give us your preview of this game. We've seen Walter Clayton Jr. doing things that not any other player, one other player, or maybe just a small handful of players have ever done in the NCAA tournament. If there's a team that feels like they could, I'm not going to say completely lock them down. That's not going to happen, but mitigate them as much as anybody else, this Houston team would be that team that can do it. And as we talked about with you last week, this Houston team different than some of Kelvin Sampson's other teams because they flat out shoot the ball better. And they proved that against Duke also. What are the chances that they can do enough defensively to neutralize what Florida's doing offensively and grab a national championship?
Oh, they definitely have the chances. You talked about the shooting ability with Emmanuel Sharp and L.J. Cryer. Those two guys can knock down shots with the best of them. Their experience. Cryer's won a national championship at Baylor before he transferred over to Houston. And Emmanuel Sharp, he's got it in his bloodlines. I played with his father in the EuroLeague, and his dad is a legend overseas in high-level basketball. And here he is hitting clutch shots to get to the Final Four. So the guards in Houston are going to be big. The defense that they play is going to be tough for Florida. But I do think that Florida has more firepower and more depth and is going to get it done. If Walter Clayton can continue with the rhythm that they have, he's going to be a load to stop. The physicality down low that Florida has, they will be up to the match to test the toughness that Houston has. And when you're playing for a national championship, this is a moment where both teams are going to leave it all out there on the line. But I do think that Florida has just a little bit more, and I think they can get it done tonight.
Is there a little hangover that you would experience if you're Houston, knowing the furious rally that you had to have and how the stars had to kind of align for you to even get within striking distance of Duke, let alone win in regulation? But does that give you momentum, or does that maybe make things a little bit tougher?
I think it makes things tougher. I think it makes things because you got away with the win. And it was so emotional that the celebration of it seemed as if they won a championship. That type of comeback, you've done things against a team that you didn't have were not the favorite. Most people didn't pick you. Kelvin Sampson even said in the post-game press conference that people need to start looking at Houston a little bit more. So there was a motivational chip on their shoulder that they had for the last game. How can you turn that around after just one game? Now where everybody seems to be on the bandwagon and supporting Houston of what they were able to do. If I'm Florida, I'm using that as motivation. You have a team that everybody's talked about the physicality, so you know that you're going to have to be prepared for that aspect. And then you know that you have a little bit more talent, particularly as far as your depth is concerned. So I think for Houston, when you have a big win of that magnitude and you're coming off of that high, I think a lot of times that can set you up for a trap situation. I think a lot of times you need wake-up calls to make you play a little bit better, particularly in tournament play.
So what does Florida on the other side have to do to be able to get through that Houston defense and find a national championship tonight?
Well, I think you're obviously going to see some heavy ball screen action, and that they do, and they go with their dribble handoff back cut from the slot situations, and that keeps the defense engaged. Kelvin Sampson is one of the coaches where a lot of coaches are now playing drop coverage and putting their bigs to protect the basket. You'll see him be more aggressive at the ball screen and the point of attack. They'll be trying to trap Walter Clayton, get the ball out of his hands. But that's where Florida is really good because their bigs make really good decisions, and Clayton is also just as lethal off the ball as he is with the ball in his hands. So you have to stay connected. You have to have discipline. This is a Houston team that will be well disciplined, but I think Florida and their ability to have multiple decision makers and ball handlers and their bigs setting solid screens will allow them to give them enough space so they can be able to get an advantage, particularly if they can also get out in transition and get it up and down.
Richard, is there any way to project towards next season at all for you? I mean, as a basketball analyst, I know one of my favorite things is we come in here, on Tuesday after the national championship game, we immediately start talking about next season and this team and that team. And it's gotten a lot more difficult because we don't know who's going to be on the team and who's going to be joining the team. When you look at this portal and the portal movement that we're already seeing in basketball, I don't know if you can feel comfortable projecting what any team is going to be next year.
Oh, no. You have to look at the previous team, how much they retain from the roster, if they can retain anything, and look at how good those individual players were that are coming into your roster on the other team, and then hope that it comes together well. This is a similar model that I'm familiar with when you talk about in the EuroLeague. You never see people signing multi-year contracts when it comes to international basketball. So your roster is going to change every single year, and maybe you keep one or two players. So it's always going to be about, can the coaches have a style that allows you to have new players translate into quick performances and success early on, and then can you ride it out throughout the course of the season by getting guys to buy in? But this is just a new college basketball. This is how it is. I even anticipate, with basketball, as y'all touched on earlier in the show, going over 2 seasons and 2 semesters, man, you're going to see some teams maybe even look to add some players mid-season. I mean, this stuff is a totally different game than what it was to when you're talking about building a culture and having players to take time to learn your system. You have to get players on your team to make an impact immediately because it's all about winning, and you got to get it done in the quickest way possible.
We always appreciate the time. It's been fun having you every Monday. Thanks to Pizza Pulls this year. Richard, and again, you did an awesome job calling games. You did a great job with us. We're very appreciative of it.
Thank you, guys. Always enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Richard Hendricks joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. He's with us every Monday during basketball season. Thanks to our friends at Pizza Pulls. If you're looking to get back into the hobby, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, you got a couple new football products that are out now. Go to fanaticslive.com, find Pizza Pulls. You can get into card breaks there. Pizza Pulls delivered Richard Hendricks to you each and every Monday right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. So it is a little bit difficult to follow. It is a little bit tough to follow, but there's a lot out there as far as quality players, Greg, that are moving from one team to the other. The amount of players that are committing to SEC schools that have already played for 2 other programs, it's a little bit mind-blowing, but that tells you that if you're looking for experience, you want guys that can come in and understand what it is right now, you're probably going to have it.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I look right now, I mean, it's tough to go out and find all these veteran guys and put a roster together and how fast it feels like everything happens so dang fast.
So fast.
It's like, golly, how do you even have time to evaluate? And I know it's not as many guys to evaluate, but goodness gracious, like, I don't even know how you evaluate guys. Is he a fit? Like, culturally, like, how do you get to know these guys? You know what I mean? That's part of the challenge in and of its own right. It's very, very difficult. It's
wild to think just kind of how quickly some of these guys are making decisions, not only where they're going to go, but how quickly they are out of the place that they currently are. And it's tough, but it's been awesome having Richard every Monday. He's done a great job breaking down hoops for us, talking basketball. And I don't know. I feel like he delivered both sides of this game tonight. Feels like he's leaning a little bit more Houston. But not sure exactly if that changed your mind on anything as far as how you feel like it goes down in tonight's national championship game.
Doesn't really change my mind. I'm kind of all over the place with this one. Like, I think it's Florida. I've been saying Florida for years now, it feels like. When did we finally kind of get around to feeling great about the Florida team? When they beat Auburn badly the first time, was that the first time we were like, oh, okay, this is team with the highest ceiling? You know, we've been on them from the get-go. So to see them in this situation is not overly surprising. But it'll be fascinating to see how it all works out.
Well, and one thing that, like we said the other day when we were previewing Auburn in Florida, is it felt like people were taking a small fraction of a game against Texas Tech, and that's all that they were remembering about this team. And in reality, they had played 13, 14 full basketball games of elite hoops before that. And all of a sudden we were downgrading them because there was just a little bit of a slide in a very short portion of one basketball game. And I just didn't see it. I had almost no comfort level picking Auburn on Friday, even though I just didn't feel like one that they were going to be able to have a lot of success in. And they had more success probably than I thought they did, and thought they were in a great spot at halftime. They just couldn't finish it off. And unfortunate that they couldn't get it done in the second half, but you also have to tip your cap to Walter Clayton
hard to
Jr.
win,
and company.
Dude.
It's like we said when this tournament field was announced, and then when we got to 4 1 seeds, no one will question. I saw something somebody over the weekend saying, the tournament's fun, but it's not the best way to crown a champion.
How?
I think they may be more qualified to crown a champion in this because of what you have to do to actually win a national championship than any other sport. And having 4 1 seeds in the Final Four.
How can anybody suggest that this isn't the best way to crown a tournament champion?
And I'll go back and say it again. If Houston,
your team didn't win?
If Houston wins tonight, my understanding is that will be the first college basketball team in history that has played the highest possible seed in every round of every game they've played in the NCAA tournament. There will be no question over who the most deserving team is if Houston wins this game tonight. I don't think there'll be a question if Florida wins this game tonight, based on what they've gone through and their path to be able to get a national championship. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough either way. And we'll come back a little bit to some of the Auburn players and what they had to say after that game against Florida. One thing you've never have to wait for, though, Greg, is your dental care.
That's because Family Dental has you taken care of. You're the urgent care officer. You can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you. Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and now open and Trustful. Go and check them out. They can get you in for a routine cleaning. that now includes free teeth whitening, then get you in for emergency care, and they can see you on Friday and Saturdays. We know how hard it is to get schedules lined up for the family. They make it easy on you at Family Care Dental. Give them a call today at 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
All right, when we come back, you'll hear from Dylan Cardwell, Denver Jones, a couple other Auburn players on their season right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. $9:23, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Welcome back in. Appreciate you all being a part of the conversation. Ice football, are you in or out? I think that should be the main part of the conversation moving forward.
I'm 100% in. I think it looked pretty good. Guys sliding across the goal line. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Dwayne Bryant tweets in at Mac and Cube. I've always said the same thing about Broom as Hendricks. He's a great player, but he just never had that dog in him. Did Janai Broom not just average a double-double in what people are calling maybe the most difficult regular season slate in the history of college basketball?
And did so most of the year, I feel like, when he's not at 100%. Right?
And I wouldn't put that on Richard Hendricks either. I haven't looked at Richard's numbers in a while from college, but that is not one that I'm not going to go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
14 points a game, 8.9 rebounds per game for Richard Hendricks in his career. So 14 and 9 per. Not going to get that accusation from me.
No,
Sorry.
Not happening. I feel like that's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
Mr. McThangums at Crispy Stuff 1 tweets in, Cole's on one today. Get that man a nap. I would love one. Absolutely love one. B. Curtis tweets in, GMAC bringing the fake news this morning. They've never enlarged the net in the NHL, although many want it to be due to the size of the goalie equipment now. So actually harder for Ovechkin.
Increase the size of the neutral, or decrease the size of the neutral zone, increase size of the offensive end, increase size of crease.
Did not think we'd get an Ovechkin apologist on the show today.
Big OV guy.
Mark that one down. Ron Gully tweets in, guys, thanks for the laughs this morning. Sarcasm healing my pain from the Final Four. Maybe that's where I am too.
Is that where it is? Is that why you're in a dark spot?
Maybe.
Don't be in a dark spot, pal.
Just the accusations of me saying Auburn's regular season national champions. I've never said that. So
if you want to claim a national championship in the regular season, you can do that. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying it can be done. No one needs. You are allowed to do you. Everyone just claims championships for everything now.
And if you want to buy a new house, you can call the Gusty Goulas Group, 205-542-1996. Or you can go to GustyGoulasGroup.com. Or you can Google Gusty Goulas Group and see over 850 5-star Google reviews. Or you need to understand that they have served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. Or you might want to know that since 2012, the Gusty Goulas Group recognized both nationally, locally as greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold. So if you have a home to sell or you are trying to get into your dream home, I would suggest you call 205-542-1996 or go to GustyGoulasGroup.com today and you can start packing. Dylan Cardwell on the memories that he will have from this year's Auburn basketball team.
Ended this way, knowing that we left the national championship on the table. But, being at Auburn has been the best 5 years of my life. And I couldn't have chosen a greater university to have loved me back and, just watch me grow up from 18 to 23. And I am the man I am because God let me come to Auburn. And, man, the thing I'll take away most is just being an Auburn man, but just being a teammate, being a player for Bruce Pearl, but also being in the locker room. We're the best locker room in the country. I love these guys, and I cherish every single moment, every single memory we made. And that's my prayer the whole year, just Lord, prolong our season. We just had so many great memories on and off the court. This is the funniest team I've ever been on, but the most loving and caring and thoughtful team I've ever been on. And I'll forever remember this team, and I hope we can stay in touch for the rest of our lives.
Greg, he's the guy that's probably going to end up deserving more credit than he's going to get for, and some of the things that you and I know have been told that he's been off the court for this team, but just the role that he played, being able to add valuable minutes, adding some physicality, adding some energy, some positivity. You need those glue guys sometimes. And he's been an important one for not just this Auburn team, but a couple.
But he's a big presence. He's obviously very effective from a leadership standpoint. He was the one that went out and was talking about the effort level of the team, right? He was the guy that has been outspoken about what needs to be done and how they can get to where they want to go if they do things a certain way as it relates to practice and the performance in the game. So he's a guy I have a lot of respect for. I think he's a guy that you definitely want representing your program and a guy that had a great career.
Well, I think Bruce said it in a press conference, either heading into the tournament or after one of the tournament games, that he's had multiple opportunities to go play somewhere else. Could have been a starter at a lower level school this year, last year, decided to stay. Obviously kind of wanted to go out there and try to help his team get to places that they had not been. And you respect him for that. And then you had Janai Broom come in. You had other big Walker Kessler coming in, and he decided to stick around. You got to respect it. And I have a lot of appreciation for what Dylan Cardwell's done at Auburn for that Auburn basketball team. And people are going to look at the stats, and he's not going to be at the top of any of the lists, but deserves a lot of credit for being a key part of why that team had a lot of success this year. Also, Denver Jones on the difficulty of guarding Walter Clayton Jr.
Honestly, just, do a lot of dribbling handoffs, You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of actions just run through him. You know what I'm saying? Just constant moving. I feel like that's just what gave him some of the looks that he had tonight. You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of handoffs, a lot of drives. So that's what it was.
So he's a guy, and that's one of the things that Bruce Pearl talked about earlier, Greg, that maybe Auburn did not do a great job of, and that was, being able to manage the different ways that he got the basketball, and just got to find a way to potentially prevent him from getting it if you're Houston tonight as much as you can. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's something that's going to be really interesting is how will Houston defend them? I'm fascinated by that. Probably as much as in this game as I maybe ever have been when I'm looking at the matchup. I mean, I think Florida's free flowing. They got great offensive presence. They have an elite player at guard. And now what does Houston do to try to defend? Because you can't cover Walter Clayton one-on-one. Ain't happen. So what do you do to try to assist whoever's guarding him and making sure that his limitations or his impact on the game is limited as much as it can be?
Absolutely. So finally, Denver Jones on Auburn in the second half, maybe a little fatigue setting in.
Honestly, I just feel like we probably just fell to fatigue a little bit. Turned the ball over. We had a lot of careless turnovers that in the first half we really didn't have. And I feel like that's what probably just gave them that extra spark. You know what I'm saying? To take the lead.
And a lot of times, Greg, that's what happens. You get fatigued. You get tired, you lose focus. Your passes aren't as crisp. Your shot selection fades a little bit. And there are a couple sloppy passes by that team late in that game when it was still in reach, by the way, where it felt like they just gave Florida the basketball back because of either a lack of focus or just a lack of understanding of where Florida was defensively.
That I think will be really part of the story as it relates to that game too, is how there are things that Florida can do defensively. I think Florida is very underrated defensively. I don't know if you see it the same way. That's a group that I think is pretty good defensively, all things considered. But when you watch them, it's like there are times where they maybe do have some lapses, but they have been able to overcompensate for them because of how well they can score the basketball and how many things they can do on the offensive end. So if it becomes a knockdown drag out, is that a game that Florida's comfortable winning?
I think so. I don't think they lack any physicality whatsoever.
Definitely not. I'm not saying they're soft or anything like that, but
I know
if it becomes one where it's like, hey, the final score is a race to 55, is that obviously it's going to be far more comfortable for Houston than it is for Florida.
Yeah. And I think if you're talking about welcoming a fist fight and welcoming a back alley brawl with the way that most of these games have been called, it absolutely favors Houston tonight. I just don't think that that's a massive problem for Florida like it would be some other teams. I think that there's a lot of that team that welcomes it, doesn't mind it.
Yeah.
And to that extent, no matter what the pace of the game is, if this comes down to trading blows offensively, I think it's advantage Florida.
You want to swap some paint?
If you want to trade paint and just see, who can outshoot who in a 30 possession game versus a 60 possession game, whatever it would be, then that's advantage Florida. But if it's, who's going to grind out the most points, that's probably advantage Houston. It'll be a fun one to watch tonight either way.
So fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it just for different reasons. I think it's going to be a hell of a basketball game. We've had a great Final Four so far. It's been a great tournament, even though we debated that last week. It hasn't been the buzzer beaters. You haven't had all the storylines and different
things. These two games did help, though. I mean, and I know that the drama and the drama surrounding Houston Duke was insane there at the final stretch. But the comeback.
What about the call on Cooper Flag late? What were your thoughts?
Which call? The tentacle?
The foul on the free throw?
Oh. I don't know. I mean, I don't recall watching that feeling as though it was anything too egregious. Did you?
I feel like that's the thing a lot of people are pointing to.
Well,
John, did you see that a certain way?
People love to point to fouls and non-calls and this. Like I felt like it was properly officiated. It
was a big moment.
It was a big moment. I'm not saying there wasn't a big moment. Could it have been something? Sure. But I don't feel like it was what lost him the game. The inability to inbound the ball lost him the game more so than anything else.
Okay.
It probably is a foul. I mean, in the moment it felt like one, but looking back, I could see how you may not have called that, but I'm not gonna penalty vulture it.
Yeah.
No.
There were plenty more egregious ones that were or weren't called.
Right.
Not only in that game or even the other game, but this one, it was the way it was called. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, didn't bother me.
All right. So tonight, national championship game, 7:50 tip.
750. Do you wish it was 650?
4:50.
350.
Number 1 Florida 35-4, taking on number 1 Houston at 35-4. Will I see the end of it? Doubtful.
Really?
I would love to try.
I think you'll stay up for one shining moment. You're going to be so committed.
If only Jim Nantz was giving his tie to a kid.
What? Does he do that?
Are you serious?
After every one shining moment, he gives his tie to somebody?
He gives his tie to the player of the tournament.
Uh-huh.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
He's done it every year.
Mm-hmm.
I've never noticed that. Probably because I haven't
TV
stayed
networks know it's as dumb as it is.
up. Probably because I have not stayed up.
No, they don't do it on television. That's not like a thing.
It's on social media.
Well, behind the scenes, yeah, but people. I mean, it happens. Not anymore because he's not there. But I mean, he's going to be there.
No, he was there.
He'll give it to a Houston kid no matter what.
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
He might not wear a tie. I'm sure he's quarter zip this time.
LJ Cryers, here you go, son.
Quarter zip with Houston t-shirt over it.
Wait, what? How did I not know this?
Firmly creased like it was just out the package.
Am I like
t-shirt?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Sticker for authentic on it.
How have you seen this?
Jim, make it look like you're a fan. Put this on. I can't believe you didn't know this.
Never heard of this.
Yeah. Trying to see if I could find one quickly to like.
We'll find it in the break, but that's amazing.
It isn't, but yeah.
What are you going to give the player of the game next fall? Of the games you do?
One of my ink pens that I use to write on my notes. Yep.
Maybe your shoes if they keep squeaking.
Oh, I don't wear those up here anymore.
Because you can hear them from two doors down.
At least it's not 3 doors down.
Ooh, like the band?
Oh, that make him a loser.
That's not good. All right. You don't have to go 3 doors down to get treatment for some of your ailments. You can just go to your CBD store, largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. If it's arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet, they have answers. Better night's sleep, which I probably need. Your CBD store can help with that. Energy focus throughout the course of the day. They have products there. Also, skincare, gut health for you or your pet. Your CBD store just wants to make your daily routine better, and they can do that in a lot of different ways. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp seal on those products, so they meet and achieve a certain set of standards. 3 locations, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleveland, Trussell just off 459. Your CBD store where good health hits home. More on Jim Nantz handing out ties next. Mac and Cube in the morning. 9:41, Monday, April 7th, Jocks 94.5. Take you to KHOU 11. You probably guess what city that local news department is from. And local news story on a tradition unlike any other that Greg McElroy was unaware of.
It's a personal Final Four tradition. The tie symbolizes a lot to me. My father, who taught me how to tie a tie, I just felt years ago that I wanted to do something to honor a senior on the team that wins the title.
I thought it was player of the tournament. I was incorrect on that.
I did too.
I was maybe that's just usually the one that it goes to. But a senior is going to get that tie tonight. Is there a true senior though on Houston's roster or Florida's roster?
Super senior count?
Super senior counts. Have to be playing their last college game.
Don't. But there's always a lawsuit out there. Which they come back and play again next year. We don't know.
I don't know. This is all news to me. I've been fortunate enough to be around Jim a handful of times. He's a gentleman, really, really, really nice man. I did not know that he handed the necktie out to a player on the team.
Senior on the winning team.
There are 2 seniors and 3 graduates. There's one redshirt junior.
Doesn't mean they can't play again though.
No, but that's what's there.
I think Cole
I guess if you don't care about eligibility, you just care that they are listed as a senior, then you can still just manage it that way.
I think Cole should probably give his Pop-Tart costume to the player of the game.
Should have in Orlando this past year, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What else can you give them? Maybe like a pair of Jordans that you don't wear anymore?
Yeah, could do that. Yeah.
If you had it, the
Air Monarchs?
Pair of my Brooks that I wear?
The thing you got from the Outback Bowl, that costume, I know you gave it away, but the Bloomin' Onion one.
Yeah,
that there you go.
That was an actual Bloomin' Onion.
Maybe some Dale sauces.
Now we're talking.
There we got action there. What else? Some rowback gear?
Yeah, I got plenty of that.
What else? Some Auburn graphic tees.
I could pull the top off of the pair of clippers I used that morning to shave my head, like to trim my hair down, and be like, "You get this is how I kept the dome acceptable." Congratulations to you, senior, on Outback Bowl championship team.
Florida has 2 seniors and 2 graduates, one of which Walter Clayton. Only junior is his
I guess he'll
name.
be getting a necktie today.
Most likely, right? Yeah.
Actually, I'm picking Houston tonight. I don't know who y'all are picking. We will get your picks on the other side. First, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring moves you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether it's your whole home packed up and move your company headquarters across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website is crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
I will tell you why that's who I'm picking, and you'll get John and Greg's picks for tonight's national championship game next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. Monday, April 7th, Jocks 94.5, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9:48 right here on WJOX. Listen online, jocksfm.com, or watch live on YouTube each and every morning.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year. They are the national champs. They've been the national champs 5 years in a row, and it's not stopping anytime soon. They sell more vehicles than anyone in the entire Southeast amongst GMC dealers. It's incredible the type of deals that you can get on the lot, like a brand new GMC Sierra 1500 Ultimate Denali. This thing is beautiful. I mean, really, really nice. Can't find a better vehicle. Can't find a nicer vehicle. The highest end trim that you could possibly get, you can get it for $14,500 below sticker. That means you're getting a GMC Sierra 1500 Ultimate Denali for nearly $72,000. It's deals like that to keep people come back. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. Take a short drive to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online. Have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, let's get our picks in for tonight. National Championship game, 7:50, CBS. Number 1 Florida, number 1 Houston. Both teams 35-4. GMAC, who you taking tonight?
I'm taking the Florida Gators. Been with them all season long. Can continue to ride with them. I believe they're the best team. I believe they're the most complete team. I think they can win on the offensive end. I think they can win on the defensive end. And I think that they'll take control of a game today against a defense that is super elite, but just not elite enough to slow them down. I'll take the Gators.
All right, Damian, which direction are you going tonight in the national championship game?
I'm going Houston in a close one. I think they'll muddy the game up a little bit, and they win ugly. It's probably not going to be the prettiest of games on the offensive side of the ball, but Houston, I give them a slight edge, so give me the Cougs.
I think I'm with you on the actual game itself, one that a lot of people probably won't enjoy because it's not going to be up and down the floor and a lot of points and a lot of buckets made, but I think it's going to be one that different people like us will enjoy, the physicality and the different style basketball. John, where are you going?
I think Florida gets it. They've showed a second gear, especially in the last couple of games in the SEC tournament. I don't think they can be stopped.
You don't think Florida can be stopped?
Correct.
Walter Clayton Jr., 30-plus in both Elite Eight and National semifinals. Only player in NCAA tournament history to score 30 in the Elite Eight, the semifinals, and the national championship game of a single tournament was?
Larry Bird.
Magic Johnson.
No.
Frank Kaminsky.
Clyde Lavallée. En route to a title in 1952.
Oh, okay.
OCL.
From?
France.
No. It was North Carolina.
It wasn't.
Oh.
No.
Texas, Wesleyan, whatever they were back then.
Oh.
Great guess, by the way. It was
Love
Kansas.
That.
Oh, okay.
Kansas. Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
He came in right after.
Love that.
Yeah. There've only been 4 players the last 50 years to have 3 straight 30-point games at any point in the tournament. Would you like to take a guess of any one of those 4?
Pistol Pete has to be one of them.
It's not one of them.
Wow.
You are wrong.
On this stat doesn't exist.
Remember, they were a bad basketball team and his dad padded his numbers.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. I forgot about that.
He was goosing them.
His numbers were goosed. Don't forget that. We learned that on this show thanks to our listeners. Anyone else? These are easy names.
Anthony
guys.
Davis.
No.
John Wall.
Wow. No.
I mean, let's say
JJ Redick.
No,
it's a good guess, but no.
Let's say who's a
similar style player, one of them.
Gordon Hayward.
Hansborough.
You did that just then.
Yeah, I was thinking Jerry McNamara.
You did that too.
Yeah. You said similar player.
Jimmy Fredette.
Oh, okay. All right. Other coach, assistant coach on the field. Okay.
There's 2 that are before your time and 1 during your time that you should easily get. Scorers.
Mateen Cleaves.
Not a guy who does the Roger Rabbit on the floor with a broken ankle. No.
Steph Curry.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
2008.
Let's ride.
Glenn Robinson, 1994. Glenn Rice, 1989.
Let's ride.
I'm taking Houston tonight. I think
Really?
I think the defense is going to be too much. I think the physicality kind of offsets itself a little bit, but I think Houston's going to make life a little bit more difficult offensively. And as we kind of heard Bruce Pearl and Denver Jones, a couple of our players saying the things that they wanted to do had some success early. They just couldn't continue it in the second half. I think Houston's deep enough to be able to continue that in the second half. And I don't think the pace of the game is going to be furious. And I think that will also lean a little bit Houston in this game. They're looking to become the 4th team in the last 20 years to win their debut national title. So we'll see. 2021 Baylor, 2019 Virginia, 2006 Florida. So it's I think it's gonna be a fun game though. I do think it'll be competitive.
I hope. Gosh, I hope it's a good game. I almost kind of want it to be a grind, like a grinded out type of game.
I think it will be.
That's what I'm hoping for. I want it to just be knock down, drag out, grind. If it's it'll be a lot of fun.
How many other 1-versus-1 national title games do you think we've gotten?
Well, I know one, 08.
Yeah. I'd say 3.
Damien?
Say 5.
Greg?
I'm gonna say 2.
This will be the 11th.
Really?
1-versus-1 national championship game.
That's a lot.
Is going to the 1 seed, by the way.
No, you don't say.
I don't know. That 1 seed shown us a lot lately.
Shocking that the 1 seed would have an advantage here.
So Houston knocked off 1 seed Duke Saturday. Will square off against 3 seed, obviously, tonight. The AP poll history, only 2 teams have defeated 2 top 3 opponents in a single Final Four. 1974 NC State. They were able to knock off a number 2 seed UCLA to number 3 seed Marquette. And then 1963 Loyola Chicago, not Marymount.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
They beat number 2 Duke in the semifinals and number 1 Cincinnati.
When Sister Jean was what, 80?
8.
Oh.
Yeah.
In 28. 63, maybe. All right. Sounds about right. So I think it's going to be a fun watch, though.
It's going to be a great watch. Tonight's going to be fun.
I think it's
a clash of styles. It's going to be fun.
But I kind of find myself, and this is nothing against Todd Golden at all, but I really do find myself rooting for Kelvin Sampson here. And
really?
It's like, just wanted to see him get a title, man. Like these videos of their practices are resurfacing again. We've seen those before. Like I just think I don't know. I want to see an old school guy kind of get it.
Somebody it'd be cool.
Still makes his guys practice hard and like still goes out there and like defense is important to why you win. Physicality is important. I don't know. I find, and he's not a guy that I felt like I always rooted for or really liked, to be perfectly honest with you, but I find myself kind of rooting for him tonight.
It's hard to push back on that. I would love nothing more than to see Kelvin. I don't think it'd be pretty awesome if Kelvin Sampson were able to do it. I would totally support that. It'd be amazing.
Yep. All right, so you get that national title game tonight. We'll have updates on Alabama spring practice, Auburn spring practice tomorrow. Also, recap the national championship game and how that has no bearing on what next year's college basketball season will look like because the portal's wide open and everybody's leaving and going to play somewhere else. Appreciate Paul Finebaum being with us today, Richard Hendricks being with us today. It's a fun show. The 3-man front coming up to you next. They'll have more Final Four coverage, national championship game coverage, and as I stated, we're back in the morning. Maybe tomorrow it's more Masters talk. How do the driving ranges look?
I think
redecorated Butler cabin,
stimp meter, stimp meter of the fairways tomorrow.
New pillows in the bird's nest cabin, crow's nest. Excuse me.